Welcome to the Roto Wire Week 13 start sit live stream. Excited that people are coming in today to catch us. Remember, already 4 games in the book, so that's weird. 8 teams are already off the books. They're out of the rankings here. So when you see the rankings on the screen, you'll see that. You'll see some yellow, which are some injury concerns. We're not sure if Dalton Kincaid is playing today yet. That'll break news soon. That's an early game, I believe. I'll have to check the time on that one. But yeah, we'll find out soon on that one. And then Tyler Warren has an illness. They're expecting him to play, but it's like a stomach bug. Sometimes players are just fine with that, but it's certainly something to be careful of. That if you need reliable points, if you have another tight end that's viable, you might want to make a consideration there. But again, a lot of times these illnesses mean very little. These players do great adrenaline playing through them. So just be careful of that. And another one, be very wary of the weather in Cleveland. It's always rough to play there this time of the year. We're looking at 34 degrees and snow, 20-mile-an-hour winds. That means the wind chill is probably going to be into the 20s, and it might even be lower than that. So 20-mile winds really change the equation. The 49ers, a West Coast team playing in that climate, not very good. The wind problematic. His usual big Christian McCaffrey centric game. I don't know how much downfield passing gets cooking in that game. Not that a lot wouldn't, of course, the Cleveland offense is limited as it is already. I don't know how Shedeur Sanders fares in this one because, again, he had a couple scheme throws that were nice, but otherwise, same issues as usual. And now there's film on him, which is even worse. So, other than hopefully Quinshon Judkins maybe breaking a run, maybe falling in the end zone, anybody on the Cleveland side is really, really hard to trust. Otherwise, yeah, it's pretty much it for injuries. Have some downside players. Baker Mayfield's going to play through his situation. Looks like Olave is going to go with back spasms, so he must have cleared those up. But yeah, like players like Ricky Pearsall who haven't done anything in the 2 weeks he's been back, really be careful playing them. All right, we'll start out with some super chat and we will get rolling here. All right, let's see what we got here. We got Scott here. Good morning to you as well. You've got Pittman, Debo, Hunter Henry, Parker Washington, receiver, and a flex tight end premium. We loved Hunter Henry. I opened the show last week by telling people be sitting on your waiver wire, definitely play him. It's going to be interesting, the tight end usage in New England, because they're without their left tackle and their left guard. So they're in big trouble here. And they may need their tight ends to block a little more than usual because, left tackle, that's a big loss. Mason, I can't even remember the name. Will Campbell. Oh, man, don't wake up too early. Will Campbell, left tackle, is on IR. That's going to hurt. So tight ends might need to block a little bit more. So Hunter Henry gets me a little worried, but you need a tight end out of that group. And is there another one in there? Pittman, Debo, Hunter Henry. So you don't have a tight end. So you don't even, tight end. No, you receiver and a flex. Okay. So he's kind of out. Michael Pittman, they're playing Houston. Those corners are very, very difficult. And Daniel Jones is apparently less than 100% with probably a small fracture in his fibula because doctors cleared him to play full practice Friday. So, yeah, it's definitely fractured, but it's probably not catastrophic. But that doesn't mean it's not going to make his mechanics perfect. So Pittman's kind of a rough one. Debo, we're going to hope that Terry McLaurin, who's playing, will be able to get the defense from Denver to kind of focus on him a bit and put the heavier coverage there. Debo underneath might get some scheme touches, so he has a little bit of utility. Parker Washington is really week to week because now we're going to have Brian Thomas back. They have Jacoby Myers. I don't know how many 3-receiver sets they're going to run. I know with Brenton Strange back, they love to go 2 tight ends. So I think Parker Washington is going to see a significant downturn in work. So if I'm you, I'm playing Debo. The second one is really dicey. But, because of the tight end premium, maybe we will put Hunter Henry as the second choice. I do not like Pittman's matchup at all there. Got another super chat from John. All right, John, you got full PPR. Alec Pierce had the bad one last week. Again, he's going to face those outside corners of the Texans. Pearsall in the horrible weather, and John Mechie. So Mechie for me is in. I was on Mechie last week. I know my partner James Koh was not, but that's fine. But I said, pick up Mechie. I started him in some deeper leagues, and I don't see why he's not going to continue to play well. Tyrod Taylor is good enough to throw the ball, and Mechie will get enough done. So I like Mechie there. I guess I get for the second one, I would have to go with Alec Pierce because he's getting targets. Don't like the matchup, but Pearsall, what does he have? 3 catches for 8 yards maybe in 2 games, and now we're playing in the wind tunnel of Cleveland and freezing temperatures, probably rule him out. And then Texans, you got a Cleveland weather. I get it, John. Got another super chat here. Good luck, guys, on that one. Henry, you got full PPR. Warren, who is ill under the weather, he's going to give it a go. Kenny Gainwell against that super soft Buffalo run defense, and the Steelers lining up 8 offensive linemen when you're counting those 3 tight ends. Ken Walker, who actually does have a good matchup against Minnesota. Minnesota is not good against the run. Walker started getting a little more work. So I would say in this one, I think I would go with Walker, run back on a flex. Walker, and Warren's a dice roll because we don't know about the illness. They're not human. These players are amazing. They're like superhuman. So they can do things that mere mortals can't. But I think if it's my lineup and Warren hasn't been blowing the roof off of things and Houston's probably going to limit scoring, I probably would not take the chance with Warren being ill. If he misses 2 drives, it could be a problem. I would go Gainwell and Walker. But look, you count on Warren all year. I could totally see playing him and sitting Gainwell, but I think I'm a little bit conservative in terms of this idea with Warren, so that's why I would sit him. But Gainwell, look, he's playing a few more snaps than Warren, and he's involved in the passing game, and I think both running backs could do really well here, and Gainwell's gotten red zone work. All right, let's go to the live questions. Thank you for those super chat questions. Always appreciate that. All right, we got Brian, Jaden Higgins, or Aronde Gadsden. So Jaden Higgins is getting a lot of targets, at least 7 in 4 of the last 5 games. This cornerback matchup is rough. And Higgins has not been super efficient on his looks. And now he's going to be up against either Charvarius Ward or Sauce Gardner. I'm kind of out on that. It's a really bad matchup. Can Higgins do something? Maybe. Gadsden I like. Gadsden had those 2 rough games. Remember, he was dealing with an injury and he played through it, but that bye week probably helps him a lot. And I just think that the Chargers understand what their identity has to be with right now. Hampton's not playing, and so I think they're going to continue to lean in the passing game. So I go Gadsden in this one. Delroy Otten or Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz crushed us last week. Indy's not a bad matchup for tight ends, and I do think that attacking that area of the field is probably best. Again, I just mentioned the 2 corners for Indy are tough. So I think that Dalton Schultz with CJ Stroud back, I think that Dalton Schultz works here. Cade Otton, we know that already. Baker's playing with a sprained left shoulder, not his throwing shoulder, but he's still a bit of an issue. I think they're going to really put the focus on protecting him. So the tight ends might be needed to block. Because Atlanta will send people. So I do think the tight ends will be needed to block here. So I would go with Dalton Schultz in that one. Chris, good morning to you as well. Half point, needing a running back and a flex. Devin Neal, Tyrone Tracy, Michael Williams, or Vidal. I never get Vidal right. Vidal had 3 great games and he had 2 clunkers, but it did kind of line up. When he faced a cake defense, he ate. And when he faced a tough defense, he was terrible. Replacement level runner, terrible offensive line. The Raiders are a team you obviously can run quite a bit on. So Vidal he could have that 100-yard game with a touchdown. We've seen it. We saw it against Minnesota. We saw maybe Pittsburgh. We've seen him do it. Michael Wilson, now we just don't know what to do because Harrison's back. And they're going to get Harrison targets. Harrison had 22 targets in his last 2 games. So it's not like they're going to forget about Marvin Harrison, and they're certainly not forgetting about Trey McBride. So Wilson, I don't really know what to do with him right now because I put him at wide receiver 21 of the remaining receivers, Harrison at 17. So I put them very close. I assume they probably split work, but that's the thing. I think they split that work that both were on their own were getting double-digit targets. So now I think maybe they both get 7 targets, which is still good. Tracy, New England isn't the best matchup for him. You could throw on them to the running backs a little bit, but I don't know if Jackson Dart's that guy. And I know he was throwing to Scadaboo. I get that. But I don't know if he'd have the same idea throwing to Tracy. So, and I don't know that one's going to fly. Devin Neal, I kind of like here. Devin Neal, I think, is going to get some volume here. I love the 7 targets last week. That was a big deal because Tyler Shuck does need to get the ball out. Miami can get a pass rush going. So I would go with Devin Neal there. And if you're willing to roll the dice on Vidal, I would put Vidal in because, again, this is a matchup that based on this 5 or 6 games he played, this matchup would be the one that he does well in. If you don't trust him, then Wilson would be fine. All right, Delroy, Devin Neal, or Woody Marks. Woody Marks gets us all these touches, and he had the one game out of the last where he did well, but otherwise his fantasy numbers just don't pop. And Indy, they're missing DeForest Buckner, but that really isn't a big issue for Woody Marks. It's not the player that I think is going to, take advantage of that one because the rest of the line's good. They got Grady, not can't think of the other dude's name, but they get the other great tackle next to him. Can't think of his name off the top of my head, and I should know this. But anyway, Devin Neal, I think, is going to have to play. He played 74% of the snaps last week, and I know Taysom Hill had 10 carries. I get that, but I do think Devin Neal has a better opportunity against Miami. And Miami's played well against the run last week, but I think he's going to be used as a receiver quite a bit. So I do like him over Woody Marks in this one. It is a toss-up. It's a pretty much of a toss-up one. And ranking-wise, I probably put Woody Marks ahead of him, actually. Let's see. Yeah, I put him a few spots apart, but if it's my lineup, I just think that Woody Marks hasn't just done enough with his touches, so that's the way I'd go. But they're close. When I put them in that range, it's always a toss-up in there. Michael, good morning to you. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we had a great Thanksgiving. Hope everybody out there, happy Thanksgiving to you. Hopefully you and your loved ones definitely enjoyed the time and hopefully enjoy the football. I know you did. Good games. For once I was on, like I said, take all the underdogs and all of them cash, but I lose a lot of those picks too. But that was a good day. All right, Michael, PPR, need a flex. Shamir DK and Parker Washington. I would go with DK here. I think DK is going to see more snaps. I think Parker Washington, like I said earlier, I do think that with Brenton Strange back last week, they like the 2 10 sets. They picked up Jacoby Myers. They traded for him. They definitely want him as a starter. And I do think Parker Washington sees his snaps get chopped significantly here. So that's good. And then, or Rico. Oh, you know what? If you got Rico, you got to play Rico for all of them. Yeah, Rico, he hasn't been great the last few weeks, but he's been fine. He gets some catches. If they get to the goal line, he's always in play there. He gets the volume. And look, those 230-yard games, those aren't coming back. And they're not coming back here. But I think trusting DK or Parker Washington, I think that's a bridge too far. All right, what we got next here? We had Delroy, full PPR flex. Higgins, DK, Stevenson, Parker Washington. Again, I mentioned, you heard me talk about Higgins and those corner matchups. I'm not really excited about Higgins for those matchups. Stevenson, I don't even know how many carries he's getting right now. It's an easy matchup, but I don't know how much work he's getting. And it's almost like Trevion Henderson just kind of ran with the job. So I'm kind of worried there. This is a rough one. I would go with DK. DK can make plays at least. And look, maybe he gets a 0, but if they get the ball in his hands, he definitely has the ability to make hands. And he might return a kick for you. He's returned 2 in the last 4 games. So if that scores 2, hey, he's a dynamic kick returner. All right, next one. Good morning to you as well. You need 2. Vidal, Kenneth Walker, Judkins, or Knight. You heard me talk about Vidal. We're going to roll with him. The matchup, he does well in bad match and against bad teams. Kenneth Walker, I mentioned him earlier. Minnesota's terrible against the run, and Seattle's going to have to get him going. They upped his work. So I think it's those 2. Judkins is the most talented of all those players, but his situation's the worst. And it's unfortunate because he just isn't scoring fantasy points. Yeah, he could fall in the end zone, but to bet on that, I don't know. And then Knight, not really. Knight's, again, Knight literally is the definition of fall in the end zone, or you may get nothing. And Brissett or Dart. Here's the deal. Dart was diagnosed. I was tested for 4 concussions. He missed 2 weeks with 1. I have to think the coaching staff, now that Dable's gone, said, we're not calling design runs. Those are done. I have to think so because there's no way they could put him, in my mind, there's no way they could put him in danger of leading him into free hits. So I would, if it's my lineup, I got Dart ranked high, but he's ranked high because of the idea of maybe they do let him run. I got Brissett right behind him. So I think Dart would be your shoot for the ceiling because if they do choose to let him run, yeah, every week he's been a quarterback 1. But as my lineup, I'm probably going with the one behind with Brissett because Brissett is safe. And Tampa Bay's defense, you could throw on them. And now he has another receiver to add to the mix. So that's what like I said, if you think Dart's going to run design runs, then I think he wins the battle. But I'm very, very leery and concerned about that not being the case. I got a super chat question. So let me type the time of the next question there so I can go back to the right spot. Let's get the super chat question here. All right. And we've got John. We all screw up. And I was stammering on Will Campbell's name earlier. left tackle for the Patriots. And you need full PPR too. Kayshon Boutte, Zach Charbonnet, Alec Pierce. So with the aforementioned Will Campbell out, I'm in a Giants pass rush. I think, and I just filmed a short for Sirius XM yesterday, and I was concerned the downfield passing that Drake May's been going without Will Campbell, who's a very good pass protector this year. I think they're not going to be able to throw the amount of deep passes they were used to throwing. I think that's going to make a big difference. And against this Giants team that could bring the heat, I don't know how many deep passes they want to deal up. So that renders Kayshon Boutte a bit of a downgrade. And even last week, Mac Hollins is still really involved. So I would just go with Charbonnet and Alec Pierce. Pierce is a bad matchup, but again, he's probably in a better spot for a floor than Kayshon Boutte. And then Charbonnet, of course, he has whatever carries he gets. Minnesota is a bad run defense, so he can definitely get going on that. Oh, I might have had another one I missed. Maybe I missed this one, Thomas. I might have missed your question. I'm sorry if I did. Oh, you just put it in too. All right, so so you're good. We didn't miss you by much. All right, need a PPR flex. Pittman, Tet McMillan. Neal's not helping me. I don't know why Neal isn't. Oh, NEAL. There we go. Devin Neal. Woody Marks or Kenneth Gainwell. All right. So, look, I think Tet McMillan's your best floor play here. Almost every game, he's gotten you double-digit PPR points. And that floor is really, really good to have. He's going to get targets. Look, you know what I think of Bryce Young. You know, I know he's terrible, and I know he's not going to throw for 200 yards in all but 2 games this year. He's not going to keep that. That's going to keep going. But he's going to throw for something. And the Rams are probably going to get a big lead in this game. And at some point, the Rams are probably going to back off a little bit. And there's a game in Carolina. So I don't think we overthink this one. Tet McMillan has been the great floor play all year, and I don't see a reason to go away from that given your other options, which all have value to them, but none of those options are safe. Even Pittman is not safe at all in this one because of the corners he's facing with the Texans. All right, let's see. I was on 9-12, which good. It didn't bounce off on me. Chris, half point, need a receiver and a flex out of Harrison. Michael Wilson, Bucky Irving, Quinshon Judkins, Devin Neal. We're in that situation with Bucky Irving now where I do have him ranked at running back 12 among the remaining backs. And we always hear this when a quarterback or when a player comes back from an injury. It might be on a snap count. But Schefter did report Irving's been out a long time, and I can't remember the exact wording, but they're going to ease him in, but he's going to get his touches. So I don't know what that means. So I think there's risk with Irving. But man, Irving couldn't have much better matchup than Atlanta. He could handle Atlanta well. He matches up really well against them. So if you're willing to take a chance on Irving, I think he's your best player of this group as your flex. Otherwise, the Harrison Wilson one is tough. Like you see, I put them right near each other in the rankings. I'm assuming that Harrison is going to get a little more than Wilson, but Wilson showed such good chemistry with Brissett that could flip. It's a really conflicting one, as you obviously know. Judkins, I just don't think he's gonna have much of a chance. 49ers are going to stuff the run. That's all they're going to do. And they're very good at it. And Devin Neal, I think he is going to get volume. He's definitely going to get some volume. But again, he is kind of a great unknown here. But I think between Harrison and Wilson, I think that Devin Neal is going to have a high snap share and some touches. So I think overall, I would go with Irving and Neal. And the wide receiver situation, I would wait it out just to see in one game what the breakdown is, because I don't know exactly what's going to be. If they put Wilson back in the slot where they were putting him a lot earlier, that could also chop his value. Because like I said earlier, I knew they'd play him on the outside when Harrison was out, and that's where the skill set advantage is. So I'd go with Irving and Neal. Next one, full PPR. Need 2. Nico, James Cook, Wilson, but Harrison is playing, and Tet McMillan. So CJ Stroud is back, and I know Indy now has 2 really good corners, but with Stroud back, and Indy gets pressure, but Houston's offensive lines play a little better. I would go with the 2 best players here. I would go with Nico and Cook, and Cook should be great today. Pittsburgh's really rough against the run. And now I know, and for everybody out there, the Bills are down to their 2 starting tackles. For Josh Allen, that's a bit of a problem because his receivers don't separate well. Now they're playing Pittsburgh, so they don't need to separate much. But this is not a great spot for Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen could run for 4 touchdowns and You're not worried about Josh Allen. He's quarterback one. And that's not my point. But my point is the receivers. I think Khalil Shakir is okay in the slot. But I think, and not that you're counting on Buffalo's outside receivers, I think it's a bad spot for them, worse than usual. But we're not counting on them anyway, I guess. So I digress. But I go with Nico and I go with James Cook there. McMillan's a nice play in there as well. I just think Nico and Cook have the ability to have more upside for you. And I don't think the floor Tet gets you is enough to sit Nico. All right, next one. Pick full PPR two. Sutton, Pittman, Neal. I am going to say Sutton here. And look, Sutton hasn't been great. Sutton has had his yardage been down last 3 games. Coming out of the bye, they're playing Washington. The cornerbacks are terrible. Their top 2 corners are on injured reserve. I have to think, and no J.K. Dobbins, I have to think that they're going to get Sutton on track here. The matchup's too good. So I would go with Sutton here. And I think I would go next with Devin Neal because, again, he'll get the volume. So I like him there. All right. Though Ramondre Stevenson or Vidal, I got to go with Vidal, and it's not even close. That's like 99-1 for me on that one. Michael, need 3 in a PPR non-tight end premium. Booty, DK, Dortch, Keenan Allen, or Henry. I don't think Dortch is going to see a lot of snaps now. This is a 2-receiver team. They play 2 tight ends a lot. I think Dortch is going to be with Harrison and Wilson there. I don't think I think his snaps are done. So I think he's kind of out of it. So he's out. You got to rule out one more of these. I'd rule out Booty. You heard me talk about him earlier. I gave the rationale, so no need to go back on that one. So those are the 2 I'd sit. All right. Next one, need 3. Full PPR. Tracy, Sutton, Pittman, Waller, Shakir, and Debo. As you heard me say, I do like Shakir in this matchup. I think in the slot, he has an opportunity to get some damage done here. They're going to need him. I do like Sutton here. For the third one, it's close between Waller and Tracy, but I'm going to give Tracy the edge because Tracy's getting some volume, and I think this game is close enough where they're not game scripted out at any point. And I'd like to give Waller a week because I don't know. Look, he's on IR for 4 weeks. He's in his 30s. Maybe it's one of those things where he doesn't play a lot. Now, if you want to swing for the gusto and think that he's right back in his regular role, I'd play Waller over Tracy in that case. But I don't know that that's going to be the case here. Again, he's an aging player that's coming off an injury that, again, landed him on IR. Debo I normally like, but not the best matchup for him here. Need 2, Rico, Walker, or Judkins. Again, Judkins is the best player of the 3, but you got to sit him. I just, like I said, he might fall in the end zone, but I can't predict he'll do that. So that's the problem with that. I think I have another super chat. Let me just fix this one here so I know where to go back. Yeah, it's good. That one. And I do. Another super chat here. The ill Tyler Warren or Juwan Johnson. And that's why I preface it with the ill Tyler Warren. You are taking a risk with Warren because if his stomach bug or illness becomes worse, you risk him missing time during the game. You risk him not finishing the game. Now, these are superhuman players, and maybe whatever they set him up with meds-wise gets him through the game. Warren is very risky. Juwan Johnson has had a great floor, and that's going back 4 or so games. Now, he had a 3-game stretch where he didn't do much, but I think the last 4 or 5 games, he's been money for double digits, PPR. So I think if it's my lineup, I got Warren ranked higher, but the yellow tag for illness, I'm going to start Juwan Johnson because I don't know that Warren's going off against Houston. And that said, I would rather take the safe floor points as opposed to Warren not feeling well in the second quarter. But again, the better play is Warren, but you got to bake in that illness, and that's where my hesitation would come in. But if you think he'll play through the illness, and nobody knows, right? So in that case, I would just say then you got to make that move. All right, Brissett, Trevor Lawrence, or Mayfield. I got to go with Brissett here. Mayfield has the sprained left throwing shoulder. I'm a little nervous about that for him. If he takes a hit, he could be down. Trevor Lawrence, I mean, I don't know how many points are scored in this game against Tennessee. Lawrence will have good fantasy games, but Jacoby Brissett's been like consistent, and there's no reason to go away from him against Tampa, I don't think. 3.3 rush attempt bonus, need 1. Aaron Jones or Keenan Allen, I assume you mean then if we're talking. So you're talking for a flex position. I'm going to go with Aaron Jones. He's been getting a steady amount of work, about double-digit touches. Keenan Allen snaps have been on and off. I think the healthier that Gadsden becomes, I think those targets come at the expense of Keenan Allen. And this is actually one of those games where they get Quentin Johnson involved because Max Crosby, look, the other guys haven't been getting a pass rush. So Crosby's had no help. And so teams are just really consciously doubling him. And that's allowed teams to throw pretty successfully. So, I think that would go with Aaron Jones here. And Jones is Jones going to probably catch 4 or 5 balls here. That's why it's a tough matchup, but I get that. Jay, all right, what do you got, Jay? Morning to you. Need 3 in the PPR. A lot to choose from. Parker Washington, heard me say earlier, I think it's going to be a lot of 2 tight end sets, so I think he's going to get relegated out of a lot of snaps. Tez Johnson, Jalen Waddle. Waddle's a must start. Michael Wilson, Jaden Higgins, Quentin Johnson, and Gadsden. Waddle and Gadsden are in for me. I do think they're both going to see their good high number of targets. For the third one, the boom bust play of the group is Quentin Johnson, because this is one of those games where I think they could get him downfield, because I just said a second ago, the Raiders, their passers really hasn't been a bit of a problem for oppositions. The safer play, I think, would be Michael Wilson. I think he is safer than Quentin Johnson, but I would start Johnson for the upside here, because again, I have no idea what Wilson's role is with Harrison Jr. back. That's a real tough one to call, and we're really going on a limb just expecting that he's going to see the same type of work that he saw. Well, I think I have another super chat, and I'll come back to this one. So 923 there, right? All right, see, you got another super chat here. All right, here we see we got here. All right, Jimbo, you've got Strange or Ertz. Ertz, his floor has been like 8 points a game. But I'll tell you this, throw out the Brenton Strange game against Kansas City because he left that game with an injury, and Brenton Strange has had almost the same floor as Ertz. So they both have had the same floor. And Brenton Strange is a big part of their offense. And now he already had a game in. And I want to say, like, Strange, was he like 14 points PPR last week? So he was really strong in that. And no reason to think they're going to keep going away from him. Trevor Lawrence, when he's at his best, he's throwing in the middle of the field. And that's where Brenton Strange lives. So I would give Brenton Strange the edge for floor, but they're very close. They're both good. I consider them both very good floor plays. I rank Strange 4 spots ahead of Ertz, but the floor is like very, very close between the two. It's possible that Ertz's floor goes down a bit with Terry McLaurin back, because now him and Debo kind of become the 1-2, whereas it was Debo and Ertz were the 1-2 when it was otherwise. So consider that as well. All right. Full PPR start 2. Mechie, McLaurin, Coker, Higgins, and Brian Thomas. You all know I like Mechie, but I think they didn't bring Terry McLaurin back till he's ready, and it's not a good matchup, but he's Terry McLaurin. Look, you go back through his career, and when he has bad matchups, he gets it done. When he has bad quarterbacks, he gets it done. I find it really hard to sit Terry McLaurin. Now, if you're very nervous about his matchup, then maybe play Mechie over him. My second one's Brian Thomas, and he hasn't been good, but he was coming on a little bit before the injury. They clearly waited till he was 100% to bring him back. And so I would just go with the 2 best players here. Excuse me, Michael. Half rush attempt and 3/4 point tight end bonus. You need 2. Theo, Jonathan Quinn, John, Chris Rodriguez, or Jacoby Myers. All right, right. So we keep playing this game of chicken with Chris Rodriguez, but he had 15 carries in the last game. And the one thing against Denver, they're a good run defense, but if you got a powerful inside runner, they're not great against that. They're still like last year. They're a little bit light in the seat down the middle. And so I do think this is a very good matchup for Chris Rodriguez. It's not a good matchup for Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. And again, I would think Chris Rodriguez probably took that role. But again, you never know in that team. But I would start Rodriguez based on what we know. And then for your next one, Theo Johnson's intriguing with the bonus, especially with Myers having to deal with Brian Thomas back, Quentin Johnson being the ultimate like boomer bust play. So I think Theo Johnson would be my second play. If you're swinging for big ceiling, again, this could be a Johnson game. And if you're swinging for ceiling, but knowing you could get a goose egg, then I'd play Johnson over Quentin Johnston over Theo Johnson. All right. Superflex, Aaron Rodgers, Tyrod Taylor, or Kirk Cousins. I'm going to say this. Aaron Rodgers apparently has 3 broken bones in his wrist. One's a little worse than the others. And if he takes a hit, I don't see him finishing the game. And I can't take that chance. Cannot take that chance. And I don't know how much they're going to have him drop back anyway. So Cousins, I know he had the long touchdown last week, don't trust Kirk Cousins against Tampa Bay. Don't trust him there. So it's Tyrod Taylor for me. It's got to be Tyrod Taylor for me. And playing against Atlanta, look, Mechie's fine. Maybe he connects on one of those downfield ones with Adonai Mitchell. So, but yeah, and he's been throwing. He threw to Brees Hall 4 for 75 last week. So I like that as well. All right, next one. Full PPR pick on Mason Taylor, Harold Fannin, and Kyle Pitts Jr. Ugh, and ugh. You know what? Harold Fannin, now it's super windy. He might catch. It's Shedeur Sanders. So, I mean, can Sanders even get it to his hands? I don't know. But Harold Fannin might have the highest catch floor here. I could see him catching 5 passes for like 27 yards. So there's that. Kyle Pitts, you get the drill. I mean, he's been maddening, and now he's got Kirk Cousins. I'd imagine Pitts is probably the best play because of the all series with the weather Fannin has to deal with. It's probably going to be Kyle Pitts. I'd like Fannin, but again, I think that I can't trust Shedeur. Shedeur, unless they rolled him out for a long pass, he can't pass the football. So I got to play Pitts there. All right, next one, Disco Day, touchdown only, total points league. Flex and a tight end, Kittle, Gadsden, Vidal, Tet, Olave. You need a flex and a tight end. All right, well, I can't sit Kittle. Just cannot. I know the weather's terrible, but he could catch and run. And that's something that I don't know. The weather's a problem. But if I ever tell somebody to sit Kittle, that it feels like it's bad advice. I'll tell you this. If you're concerned of the weather to a point where you don't think San Francisco can move the ball, then you got to play Gadsden over him. I just on principle will never tell somebody to sit George Kittle unless there's 8 inches of snow on the field. So that's just understand my bias there. Won't sit Kittle because if I drafted him, I already knew there's going to be volatility. All right. Otherwise, Gadsden would be my second, would be my tight end, and you need a flex. Tet McMillan's got to be, Vidal, though. Vidal is an easy matchup, and he's crushed the 3 easy matchups he had. And when he has a tough matchup, he's terrible. He still isn't a good player. So that worries me. McMillan is the safest, but Vidal probably has a good blend of safety and some upside. So I would, if it's my team, I'm starting Kittle and Tet, but make the case for Vidal having more upside than Tet McMillan. And Gadsden is your weather pivot in that. That's a good question. That's a tough one. Next one. I got to go with Vidal again. You just heard me talk about him, but 49ers are very good against the run. Maybe Judkins breaks a long run. Maybe he falls in the end zone. But Vidal is an easy matchup, and we've already seen him do well in those. Love Judkins as a player. His situation's brutal. I got to start Vidal there. Where did I even rank Quinshawn? I ranked him at running back 20, and I put Vidal at 18. It's horrible to rank Judkins there because he's so good. Baker's not out, so we'll ignore that question. Who would I use full PPR? Gadsden, Otten, or Pitts? Gadsden. Gadsden is probably not close. He had the 2 poor games, but he was battling through an injury. I think after the bye week, he's off the injury report, so he should be fine. That would be the way I go there. Gadsden is a huge part of their offense right now. Delaware, full PPR flex, pick one. I'm going with Alec Pierce here. Again, I think Parker Washington, you heard me say, I think his snaps get cut down significantly with Brian Thomas back. Ramondre Stevenson, I don't know. He's getting more than a few touches. I can't count on him. So there's that. All right, let's see what we got here. Night Train. PPR flex need 2. Franklin, Mooney, Diggs, Waddler, McMillan. I think Waddle and McMillan are both the safest, and they both have enough upside. Diggs had 3 games at low yards. He scored touchdowns in them. He had the 100-yard game. But, again, with Will Campbell out, I wonder how much they're going to run the ball here. They might run the ball a lot in this one. They might not have to throw a whole lot. So I'd go with Waddle and McMillan. Half-point first down, 0.25 rush attempt bonus. Mason did well last week, but this is a different matchup. This is not a good matchup for him against Seattle. I would just go with Brian Thomas Jr. and call it a day because I don't know how many rushing attempts Mason's getting. And Aaron Jones is going to get just as much. So yeah, I'd go with Brian Thomas Jr., take my shots there. Again, he hasn't been great. And Dortch, like you heard me say, I think with Harrison back, I didn't. They run a lot of 2 tight end sets. That means no third receiver. So I think Dortch gets frozen out on that. All right, Julian, full PPR. Mims, Keenan Allen, Mechie, or Myers. Very close. Keenan Allen will get some work. His snaps went up a little bit before the bye, but his snaps have been going down. I have him at 29. Jacoby Myers, I got to have a bit higher at 25. And then Mims, you know what? Pat Bryant, I think, is getting worked in a bit more, so I'm probably ruling him out. And again, I got Mechie just ahead of all three of those. Mechie's the number one receiver right now. I laugh, whatever, but yeah, you're smart enough to have him in your roster. So I go Mechie here. I think Mechie's going to have to get the ball here, and Tyrod Taylor can get it to him. I'd go Mechie. PPR, you got Kenneth Walker, Michael Wilson, or Devin Neal. Kenneth Walker did see an increase in work last week. Like I said, Minnesota is terrible against the run. I would give Walker the edge here. Theo Johnson or Kincaid or Strange. Let me check the time on the game. Hang on. Let's see what time that Pittsburgh's an early or a late game. Let's see. I got to double check. That's a late start. Oh man, that makes it nearly impossible. So unless there's confirmation, if Kincaid is, before early games kickoff, he's active, and when James Koh comes on top of the hour, we're going to go through inactives. Not that it'd be inactive, but they might have a news report on him. I've heard nothing on Kincaid that he's confirmed to play. So if it's the early game question, I would start Brenton Strange with no questions asked. Brenton Strange would start. He's been all 4 games. He start and finish. He's been very good. But if there's word that Kincaid is definitely playing, you can go Kincaid. And you also have the ability, if you want to wait for Kincaid, you could pivot to Theo Johnson. But if there's word, if you're word Kincaid's not playing, Strange is a really solid play. Oh, I got another super chat, so let's get back to this one in a minute. Let me just mark the time on that one. All right. All right, good. Let's get to the super chat question here. All right, Thomas, you need a ceiling. Neal, Gainwell, Marks, or Tet McMillan? Man, I would love to say Gainwell. He gets half the work. He gets a couple more snaps. He had like 53% of the snaps last week, and he was playing Buffalo. But it could be Warren. So for ceiling, it's going to be between Gainwell and Tet McMillan. But Tet McMillan hasn't had ceiling games. He had one. And his quarterback doesn't throw for 200 yards. That's kind of the way. So if you're shooting for pure ceiling, Gainwell and Warren could both have big games against Buffalo. They're that bad against the run. And Gainwell's been getting some red zone work too. So as much as it's funny to say, I'm thinking a backup running back over 3 starters. He has the most upside, in my opinion. John, Alec Pierce. Yeah. See, Booty, even when he came back, I mean, Hollins now is like part of that thing. And there wasn't Chris Olave is active, according to Ian Rappaport. Just it flashed on my screen here. Okay. So, yeah. So Booty's, I think, he's only going to see a downtick in those deep shots. And with Will Campbell out and their left guard out, I don't know how many deep shots they're going to be lighting up for Drake May, because the whole point is that Giants pass rush could make it miserable. So outside of Alec Pierce, I think Pierce is a little bit better of a floor. It's going to be a problem for Kayshon Boutte with that. Unless there's teams that don't have a pass rush they face, it's going to be a problem for him. All right, let me see where I'm at here. 947. Oh, good. I didn't even lose it. Yep, there we go. All right, Shookson's next. All right, good morning to you. Half PPR, Quentin Johnston, Franklin, Debo, or DK. So Franklin's been getting a ton of targets. It's like 8 to 10 in 4 straight games. Now, he isn't always efficient with them, but man, his matchup is certainly easy. I think that Franklin probably has the best floor of this group. Debo has a tougher matchup. Johnston, he can always get you a 0, so I really don't like to play fire with that. And they have plenty of guys. There's no guarantee he's getting that 2 touchdown game, so you want to bet on that. And DK, the work isn't enough to compare with those other guys. So, yeah, I would go with Franklin because the targets have been insane. Vidal, Judkins, Irving, or Gainwell. Again, the Vidal question comes up. It's always a smart question, but he has an easy matchup, and that's really all it is for him. He's going to get work. And so he probably is the safest of those because we don't know what the coach means with Irving. If it's my lineup, I'm starting Bucky Irving. Coach Bowles said he'll get his touches. Now, whatever that means. but there's nothing worrisome about the matchup. Irving was a great fantasy producer in every game, even though he wasn't efficient. He didn't have nearly some efficiency as last year. If it's my lineup, I'm starting Irving. But if you are at all worried they're going to limit his snaps, then you probably got to go to Vidal because it is a matchup. It's one of those matchups he actually can have that good game, and he's, bad running backs can do good against bad teams. And then you got another one here, Jefferson, Johnson, or Dortch. I'm assuming you mean Justin Jefferson, and I can't sit him over Johnson or Dortch. That's one I can't do. And I know Jefferson hasn't been great, and I appreciate the nice comment. Honestly, I have to think that Max Brosmer is going to be better than Justin Jefferson than J.J. McCarthy was, because he's going to get his targets. All right, next one. Good morning to you too, Dingo. 4 points for passing touchdown. Nix has upside because he's playing a bad team. It's that simple with him. Whenever he plays a terrible team, he has upside. Terrible quarterback, terrible footwork. Never know where the ball's going when he goes to launch it, because his feet are never seem to be set. Once in a while they are. Brissett's been money. Every game he's played, 6 games now, he has got at least 20 fantasy points. Money. Is he money this week? Why do I say no? There's no logical reason I can say Jacoby Brissett is going to fall back this week. So I can't. Bo Nix, he's your swing for the fence guy. But if he doesn't hit, and this is a week he can. This is a week he definitely can hit. But I trust Brissett right now. And now he gets another receiver. I trust him. But again, if you want to swing for the fence, then you go ahead and go for Nix, because this is one of those games you could get the home run. All right, I got another super chat here. All right. Thanks for doing those super chats, everybody. Much appreciated with that. Andy, you need the best floor between Vidal, Neal, Gainwell, and Marks. It's got to be Vidal. He's going to get you 15 touches. He has a super nice matchup. He has to have the best floor of the group. Again, when he plays a tough defense, he's terrible. But this isn't the case this week. The Raiders are not a good defense. And the Raiders are not coming out looking to stop Kamani Vidal. They're looking to try to slow the passing game down if they can. So that's not their priority. So, yeah, I think Vidal is the best floor among those. But look, Gainwell has a nice floor. Neal has a nice floor. They all have a nice floor. But I think the best one is Vidal. All matchup based. That's all matchup based. Do not like Vidal as a player, but that's neither here nor there. We're playing fantasy football, and points are what we need. All right, what we got here? Purdy, Ward, Tyrod, Taylor, Shuck, or Tua. Oh, man. Normally, I would say Purdy, but obviously the weather in Cleveland is going to be an issue. The Cleveland defense is an issue. This game could be 10-6. This could be a 10-6 game. Could it go off the rails? Yeah, but it certainly doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So Purdy's the best if it's a normal weather day, but it's not. Tyrod Taylor, I got him at 15. Tua, I got at 13. You know what? I think they're coming out of a bye, and New Orleans is good against the run. So I do think Tua is not a bad play at all in this one. Playing in a dome, so at least they'll be in the temperature control environment. I probably go with Tua here. It's hard to recommend them, but yeah, Tua would be my play there. Let me make sure I have another super chat here. No, I got him. Okay. All right, where are we at here now? All right, next one. All right, AJ, good morning to you. Full PPR. Judkins, Vidal, Walker. Again, I got to go Vidal and Walker. Everybody knows I love Judkins. He's going to be a superstar, but the situation's horrible. I really can't tell people to sit Vidal. I mean, in this situation, I can't. And I wish I could, because Judkins is 20 times the player Vidal is. But I just don't know how Judkins can he break a long run for 70 yards? Yes. Can I end up at a touchdown? Can he get a second touchdown fall in the end? He can. But it's so risky. And Vidal could easily get 90 yards and a touchdown. Easily. So it got to be Vidal and Walker. If your gut says Judkins, sit Vidal, and I get it. And I hate recommending it, but it's the right thing to do. All right. TPR need 2 for Dingo. Henderson, Vidal, Irving, Dowdle, or Neal. Henderson's kind of hard to sit because the Giants are abysmal against the run. And he's clearly got the lead role. And he's gotten it done in games where he's had long runs. He's gotten to games where he's found the end zone 3 times. I don't think he can sit Henderson. And of the other ones, I probably go I'd probably go Rico Dowdle here. He gets it done as a receiver, gets it done as a runner. It's a tough matchup, but he finds a way to get you double digits. It's really hard to sit Rico Dowdle. Where do I have him on my? Yeah, I got him at 6. I do have a downside tag on him, but I think over your other options, Bucky Irving, if he sees a little less work, then he's not outscoring Dowdle. Vidal, I think Dowdle. It's too hard to sit Dowdle in that situation. All right. Next question. Full PPR, running back and a flex. Judkins, Harvey, Neal, Higgins, Quentin Johnston. You need a running back and a flex. I know Harvey didn't do much in the last game. I don't know how he does not shred Washington. He had 11 carries last week and 3 targets. Washington's linebackers are slow. They have no lateral speed at all. And Harvey can get to the outside very easily. I have to think Harvey's in a great spot this week. I would play Harvey. And then your flex, I probably would say, in your full PPR, I would say Neal. 7 targets last week. He had 7 carries, 74% of the snaps. Probably would say Neal would be my second call. If you're shooting for pure upside and you're willing to risk a 0, it'd be Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston's your true boombox. You know, there's games they don't go to him, but there are games that they get him 2 touchdowns, and that could be one of these. So that's how I look at that one. Henry, full PPR, running back in a flex. Woody Marks, Jalen Warren. I hope you mean Jalen Warren. Yeah, it's all running backs. Yeah, right. Gainwell, Walker, Harrison. Oh, well, the Warren could have been Tyler, but I'm going to guess it's Jalen. So you need a running back. I got to go with Jalen Warren here. The matchup against Buffalo is terrible against the run. I got to go Jalen Warren here. It's funny, you got him and Gainwell. They both could go off, right? But I would go Ken Walker. Oh, you got Jefferson too. Oh, man. But I would still go with Warren and Walker. I go Walker's matchup is too good against Minnesota. Minnesota's not been good against the run. And they're going to be worried about stopping Smith and Jigba. That's going to be their primary focus and rattling Darnold. If your gut says Jefferson over Walker, I get it because we don't know what Max Brosmer is. But if Brosmer can be somewhat competent getting the ball out, there would definitely be a possibility that would work. Rodney, Schultz, or Gadsden. I got to go Gadsden here. Schultz should see targets in this one. But Gadsden, he should be healthy from that injury now. Now he's been back a couple of weeks. So I think we're in a good spot with him. So I think I go Gadsden's great player, merging. I think they probably expand his role a bit here. And I think the Chargers probably score a lot of points. All right, so we got next there. AJ, full PPR, need a receiver too. Thomas, Quentin Johnston, Higgins, or Jacoby Myers. So Brian Thomas Jr. would have the highest floor, I would imagine. He was coming on a little bit before the injury, so I would take him as the floor play. If you're going for pure ceiling, again, it'd be Quentin Johnston. Don't like Higgins' matchup. Myers may just see a little bit more of a target squeeze. They probably try to get some passes to Brian Thomas at the expense of Myers. So, and Brenton Strange is involved there too. So, Vinny, good morning to you. Bucky, Harvey, or Judkins? I would go with Bucky Irving here. Even if they limit his work, I think he can get enough done against Atlanta to be fine. I have RJ Harvey only a couple spots lower in the remaining player rankings on here. I do think Harvey has great upside. There is risk with Bucky Irving because if they do limit him coming back, then that could be a problem. So if you want the upside play, it would be Harvey. But I do think there's a nice blend of floor with some potential for upside with Bucky Irving, so I would play him. Judkins, again, situation is just too difficult with the weather, and 49ers are a really, really good run defense. All right, I got a super chat question here, so let me mark this time down here. Let's go to the super chat. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, here we go. And we have got Fabian. All right, morning to you as well. Jawan Jennings or Woody Marks. So I normally would say Jawan Jennings. The weather is going to be brutal from what I saw on TV this morning. And from what I read in the report, we are looking 20-mile-an-hour winds. We're looking snow. The wind in Cleveland tends to swirl. It's just not good. And I'd go at Woody Marks. I'd go for the floor. This could be the 49ers game could be really, really low scoring. Sutton or Quentin Johnston. I know Sutton hasn't been great. The matchup couldn't be better for him. Coming out of a bye, you have to think they're going to get him involved. And Sutton has a much safer floor. Again, he hasn't been very good lately, but I would play him over Johnson because I think they both have upside potential this week. Stroud or Tua, I get them right next to each other in my rankings. I have Stroud a little bit higher. That offensive line's been blocking a little better. It's a toss-up, but at the end of the day, I think Stroud is a much better quarterback, and he has Nico Collins, and I probably give Stroud the slight edge, and Stroud will run a little bit too. Now he's coming off a concussion. Maybe he won't. So we got to be worried about that. But again, as you see, it's a coin toss because it's 12 and 13 of the remaining quarterbacks. But I do give Stroud the slight edge, which is why I ranked them just a little bit ahead. It's a good question. Then, yeah, and I answered the first part. All right, good. All right. Oops, get back to the live questions. All right, here we go. I want to make sure I'm on the right one here. And I'm not. I got to get to the right question here. Just take me a second to find it. Hope everybody's day's off to a great start. Hopefully those lineups are all getting set for you. And all right, here we go. Found the next question. All right. Kells is next. Devin Neal or Troy Franklin? Troy Franklin is getting an incredible number of targets. The matchup is phenomenal. Devin Neal had 7 targets himself last week. Very, very likely to see significant workload. Miami got much. If you're looking at like anybody look at the fantasy numbers against, and you're looking at Miami saying, oh, it is a gold mine game. 2 different teams. Miami through week 6 was horrible. And whatever they did, they fixed it. They are playing great against the run. I would give Franklin the edge here. But it's hard to pass on a running back because a running back could see goal line work. Now, Taysom Hill was taking goal line work, so that takes some of that away. I'm still going to say Franklin. The targets, I think, have been 8 to 10 for 4 straight games. It's really hard to go away from that. I do think both he and Sutton could eat in this one because, again, Washington's so bad defensively. I have another super chat question, so I'll have to come back to, let's see. All right, see what we got here. All right, we've got Lucky Leo. You're starting Walker and Warren in your flex. Do we start Gainwell also or go with Tet McMillan? Again, McMillan has had bad matchups, but he normally gets you double-digit PPR points. And so it's really hard to sit him because of that. Gainwell, I think, has a lot of upside against Buffalo. And like I said earlier, I think both running backs could do really well here. But McMillan has been money almost every week to get you a great floor. And that's kind of hard to pass up on. And if the Rams get a big enough lead, we could see some garbage time production. It's a very live question, Gainwell or McMillan. It's very live because both running backs could have a good big game here. But I know McMillan has a stable role, regardless of how bad his quarterback is. And that stable role usually gets you some fantasy points. So I would give McMillan the shot. Pure upside, you're asking. If you want pure upside, it's got to be Gainwell. McMillan had one big game this year. And that was a game where he were 400 passing yards or something like that. And that ain't happening. That probably ain't happening again. Probably you're looking at the normal 170. So pure upside is Gainwell. But, man, it's going to be really hard. Again, if you're down a lot of points, then, yeah, I guess Gainwell is your way to go. Him and Warren. See, I want to re-answer that, too, because if you're in a game where you got Warren and Gainwell, the odds of them both going off are slim. I think one or the other. I mean, as bad as Buffalo is against the run, hard to see both going off. So if you want to diversify it, then you would have to go Warren and McMillan if you want to diversify the upside. But by taking both of them, one of them's going to cannibalize the other. So I wanted to frame that for you. Did the super chat, so I owed you at least that. All right. And then we got next question here. All right. Find the next question here. All right, here we go. We're back. All right. Hockey is next. PPR without London. Do I need to start? I think Mechie's safer. Mechie's the number 1 receiver for Tyrod Taylor. 2 good games in a row. Don't see any reason why he's not going to get targets. He looks like he's finally got his opportunity to play. DK is just risky because he's super talented. But we've seen there was a game a few weeks ago where I was like, yep, definitely. And then he ended up fortunately returned a kick because he did nothing else. And it looks like they're getting Alec Iomanor back. So I probably just go Mechie here. I think your floor is better. And Jeff, good morning to you. Got to start 2. Henderson, McMillan, Vidal, or Harvey. So Henderson, to me, is the one you have to start out of this group. It's Harvey has the upside, Vidal has potential for a very great floor and solid game. McMillan's a high floor play. So I'll tell you this. I'm starting Henderson. If I want the next best floor play, it's McMillan. If I want the ceiling play, I'm benching McMillan. I'm going with Harvey because of the matchup. All right. Dingo, flex PPR. Wilson, Ibuka, McMillan, Vidal, Dowdle, or Neal? That's a great question. I have Dowdle rated the highest of all these players. He's found a way to get it done most weeks. Could Vidal score 2 touchdowns? Yes. Against the Raiders, he could score 2 touchdowns, and then he would win. Dowdle will be involved as a receiver. It's a bad matchup, but he's done well in bad matchups. So I would give the edge to Dowdle. Dowdle for volume, both as a runner and receiver. Maybe garbage time. Now, I know Chuba Hubbard cuts into that last. His snaps went up a little bit last week. I would start Dowdle. The next best choice, if you don't like Dowdle in this, I would probably take a flyer on McMillan for the floor. I think McMillan would probably technically have the best floor of the remaining group, so I would look at that. And all right, let's see. All right, next question. T-Dob, Nix or Brissett? Brissett is the safer one with good upside. Nix is a pure upside play because his matchup is pristine and he's capable in an easy matchup of doing well. So there's definitely a case for Nix. I think Brissett has just been too stable to bench. And then Debo, Pierce, or Johnston. I am going to go with Debo here. I do not like Alec Pierce's cornerback matchup. Quentin Johnston is your swing for the fence, though. If you want the upside player, yes, he could have a big catch or two. He could do that. Debo probably has a better floor. So if you want the upside play, though, I am going to go with Johnston for the upside only play. But if I want just the floor points, I'm going to go with Debo there. I think getting McLaurin back is going to help Debo a little bit. Defenses compress them down way too much when McLaurin was out. Defenses won't have that luxury right now. All right, Germs is next. Standard league, need a flex start. Walker, Buka, or Vidal. Walker's been playing a little better. Matchup against Minnesota is a very good matchup. Ibuka's numbers have been down, and Mayfield's playing with left shoulder sprain. Defenses have really put cloud coverage on Ibuka, and it's really been a problem. Mayfield's been a little inaccurate. I don't know if the shoulder causes further accuracy issues. Vidal, again, I keep bringing, he keeps coming up on for a good reason, and it's a good matchup, so he certainly could get that 100 and a touchdown. So he might be the safest of these three because of the easy matchup. Easy matchups he cooks. I probably would still play Walker because it's an easy matchup, but Vidal has a case here. Vidal has a definite case here. I ranked Walker at running back 15. I ranked Vidal at 18. So I had him close. Vidal might actually be safer, though. Walker, Judkins. So Walker, you just heard me talk about him. So he'd be your floor play. And honestly, I was thinking Quentin Johnston. Sorry, I saw QJ there. I read it too fast. It's Kenneth Walker. Judkins just has a bad matchup. Again, he could break a long run. Yes, he could score a touchdown. Yes, probability wise, it's going to be another one of those games where he gets 20 carries for 55 yards and 1 catch for 6. It's sad to say, but that's his offense, not him. I start Walker. All right, next is Chelsea. Brissett or Dart. So I had them 4 and 5 in my remaining quarterback rankings. Here's the thing. I have Dart higher because I don't know they're going to call off the designed runs. He's had 4 concussion checks and one confirmed one. If I'm coaching them, I'm telling them, you ain't doing any more design runs. We're going to make sure you're a quarterback first and figure out the running later. If you agree with me on that, then you're starting Brissett. If you think that Dart is going to go ahead and run, then he can run against New England. Every game he's played, he's been a quarterback 1. So there's a case. If it's my lineup, though, even though I have my Dart ranked higher, I don't My guess is they're smart and they say don't run design runs, and then Brissett's the better play. Wandale, McConkey, Debo, you know what? We're gonna stop right at McConkey. McConkey's been playing great and are coming out to buy. There's no reason to think he doesn't eat in this one. And McConkey's been wonderful. I know Wandale had the great game last week, but McConkey's just had a nice blend of floor and ceiling, so we'll leave it there. All right, we got Stafford or May, and you need the floor play. Oh, it's got to be Stafford for the floor play here. I got Drake May as quarterback 3. May, I think, has a potential upside here, but with Will Campbell out, they could run it. There's a world where they run the ball a lot. So Stafford, I have him ranked. Oh, I have Stafford at 2. That's right. Stafford's at 2. So Stafford's 2 and May's 3. But I do think Stafford's a better floor because Carolina, they're not stopping him. They're down their top corner, J.C. Horn. They're down their free safety, Trevon Merrick. They're missing another defender as well. I think Roseboom's out. So, yeah, I don't see any reason why Stafford doesn't get you 3 touchdowns in this one. So, yeah, I think he has a better floor. All right. Let's see what we got next. All right. Next one, flex. Need one from Charbonnet, Brian Thomas, Alec Pierce, and Algier. Of this group, I would go with Brian Thomas. Charbonnet, we're seeing Walker get a little more work. Pierce is a bad matchup. And Algier, you never know the week he's going to get 4 carries and call it a day. So, yeah, I'd go with Brian Thomas there coming off the injury. Adventures next. Full PPR, need a flex. Wilson, McMillan. I like Warren here. The matchup against Buffalo is too good to pass up on. He has floor and ceiling. And then Brissett or Dart, and I answered that for somebody else just a minute ago. So, again, if it's my lineup, it's Brissett, but I have Dart higher because if the team decides to let him keep running the way he did, then he is the better play. But, again, my gut, the rankings aren't based on my gut, they're based on what I see. So my call would be Brissett because I think they're going to dial back Dart's running a bit. FF Sheep, Gainwell, Warren, Marvin Harrison, pick 2. Wow. I would diversify. I would go with Warren and Harrison just to diversify because if you start both Steelers back, and let's say for some reason Buffalo comes out and has a game, which we don't see coming on defense against the run, then you're over 2. And that's why I would diversify. Chelsea, all right, what do you got? Did we answer this one for you already? I think we answered it for you already. I think we got you. Jim Coop, Io Manor, Slayton, Pierce, or Mechie. We're going Mechie. Emerged as Tyrod Taylor's number 1 guy, and I am not at all worried about the matchup for him. Should have a nice, solid game here. Harrison, Wilson, this is Christian. Hey, Christian. Harrison, Wilson, Shakir, or Neal. Start 3. So who are we sitting here? Well, we're sitting one of the Cardinals. Shakir should be involved in the slot. Josh Allen's missing both tackles in this game. He's got to get the ball out quicker than usual. Devin Neal should get volume for you in targets. Between Harrison and Wilson, I have Harrison ranked a little higher. Do I really know which way it's going? No, Harrison's role isn't changing, though. Harrison is still going to get the role. So Wilson is the one who likely sees his role change a bit. So I would go with Harrison for that reason. But if you got a gut call on that Arizona one and you think it's different, then definitely go that route. All right, Rob, good morning to you and happy Thanksgiving. Hope you enjoyed it. Jones or Baker? This is tough. Jones, I have at 8. Maker, I have a 6 with a downside. He has that left non-throwing shoulder sprain, but I would go with Baker here. Atlanta matchup isn't scary. Jones is going to have a really rugged matchup against Houston. Those corners, the pass rush. This could be a rough game for him. So I would take the shot with Baker Mayfield here. All right, let's see what we got here. Next, Julian, full PPR pick 2. Neal, Vidal, Harvey. So I would go Harvey is your upside play. I have Vidal just ahead of Neal. Vidal is an easy matchup, he's safer. Those are the way I would go with that. If you don't trust Vidal, thinking the Raiders come up somehow and have a game, which I don't think they will, but they could, then you would go to Neal, but I would sit Neal among that group. Smitty, Purdy, Stroud, or Jones. I still have Purdy ranked at 7, but I didn't, you know what? I didn't, when I saw the weather this morning, I didn't make an adjustment for him. I need to put a big old downside tag on Purdy, which I should have done earlier. I am very concerned about the weather in Cleveland. I just don't know how much offense is going here. So if you're willing to take a chance on the 49ers being able to figure out the weather, which I don't know that we're able to do that, you might make a case for Purdy. I just think this game could go 10-6. I could see it being 10-6. So I would start Daniel Jones over him in that case. I don't like the fact that he has some kind of a fracture in his fibula. So, I mean, Jones might not run much. I don't like the cornerback matchup. But Stroud, on the other hand, doesn't have a terrific matchup either because Indy now has two good corners, which they didn't have. So, Purdy's your risky one, but I probably start Daniel Jones. If you see somebody on the rankings that's higher on your waiver wire, probably not. No, there wouldn't be anybody left there. All right. All right, we got Travion, Kyren, Brian Thomas Jr. need a running back and a flex PPR. You know what? I'm going to go with the guaranteed volume of Travion and Kyren. Kyren is giving some work up the corner. This is not a bad matchup for Kyren at all. And Travion's been money the last couple of weeks. I would just go with them. And Brian Thomas Jr. again was coming on a little bit before the injury, but yeah, I trust the other two players more. Sam, PPR flex, Adams, Kyren, or Ibuka. Got to sit Ibuka there. Adams, can't sit Adams. Kyren, I just mentioned, he's got a great situation here. Next one, Sleek, PPR 2. Kenneth Walker, Devin Neal, Vidal, Bama, Ibuka. Probably going Vidal and Kenneth Walker here. Ibuka's close. And I really don't know what we're getting out of Baker. I don't know what we're getting out of Baker. And if your gut says Ibuka over Vidal, I get it. But otherwise, I would start the running backs there. Delegizi need to start 2. Genti, Debo, Rico, or Neal. I would go with Genti and Rico here. Volume, floor. Love Debo, but again, he hasn't had a lot of great games, and Denver isn't exactly the best matchup to attack. And then Juwan Johnson or Hunter Henry. We started out last week's show, remember, everybody, and I said if Henry's on your waiver, pick him up and start him against Cincinnati. But Henry didn't have a really good game in like the prior 5 or so weeks. And Juwan Johnson's been a great floor play. In Miami matchup, there's nothing scarier. And Juwan Johnson snaps went up last week. Hooray for that one. So I'm going to go Juwan Johnson there. Or last week. Iron Eddie, need upside in the Guillotine League. Travion or Genti? Well, it's got to be Travion because Travion has a really easy matchup and Genti has a really hard matchup. Just to make it real simplified. Morning, Pedro. Boswell or Fairbairn. Yeah, but you know what? Kickers require luck, and I have no luck. I only have ability to analyze things. I'm always going to get a kicker wrong. So maybe the chat answers that one for you, but yeah, kickers, I got nothing for you because it all requires luck. Like who's getting the field goal, who's not missing a field goal. I wish I could answer Pedro, but I always get kickers wrong. Smitty, 2 quarterbacks, Purdy, Young, or Mariota. You heard me talk about the Purdy situation. Bryce Young would need some severe garbage time to get it done. I have Mariota just 1 spot higher. He has a brutal matchup, but at least he gets McLaurin back. So, look, I keep saying this Purdy game could go 10-6. Purdy's the best play of the 3, but if you can't take a chance on that weather, which I don't know that, I would probably start Mariota here. It's hard to sit Purdy, but the weather is a real factor. It is a West Coast team coming there to play, so there's a real concern with that. So there's that. All right. Next, we got a super chat. Oh, I should have marked the time on that question. I forgot to do that. Let me see if I can go. Oh, I'll figure it out. All right. Phil, good morning to you. You got PPR, Darnold or Brissett? Brissett fairly easily. Darnold, I think, is a bad matchup. The Vikings are going to drop players in coverage, which is going to be hard for him. They're going to send blitzes, which is going to be a problem for him. It's Brissett. Kincaid or Henry? This is a real easy one because Henry plays Monday night. So if Kincaid's active, he starts. If Kincaid's active, you automatically go to Henry. So that's easy. That's good. That time works out for you in the starting. It's the people that have the early game tight end against Kincaid in the late window. And then DK, Pittman, or Mooney. Man, I don't think we're going to see that Kirk Cousins long pass to Mooney again. I don't think it's Tampa Bay who sends pressure. I think that's a problem. So I just got to go DK and Pittman. And I know they all could have awful games, but that's the way I would go on that one. Let's see if this pops back to where I was. Oh, I think I got lucky and found it. All right. I got to mark the times on those when I come in. All right. Chelsea for next week, pick up Strange or Waller. So just for 1 week only, and I don't have the opponents for next week in front of me, but I would imagine Waller is healthy at that point, and Waller is like their de facto number 2 receiver. And I know Achane is a running back, and he probably is, but their number 2 actual receiver is probably Waller. So I would probably go with Waller there. But again, I don't know next week's matchup, so there could play in something. Strange is a very good play, but I would go with Waller for that reason. And whenever he's healthy, Waller plays, right? And you have Goddard, drop Goddard or Mooney for either. Oh, I would drop Mooney. I would drop Mooney. Goddard could pick it up for the fantasy playoffs, so I wouldn't. He's in a slump right now, but that could turn around pretty quick. And Waller, if you pick up Waller, Waller could get hurt at any time. So I would drop Mooney for him. All right. And then you've got Dart Goff. Goff played already. Oh, rest of schedule. Brissett, rest of schedule. I would say Brissett. I don't think they can go back to Kyler Murray. I just don't think that can happen. And he's been like a quarterback one pretty much every week. So we got to go with Brissett there. Don't trust Dart to stay healthy. Don't know if they're going to scale back his running. Goff, no thanks on Goff. Too many inaccurate weeks. Dustin, pick 2 full PPR. Waller, Michael Wilson, Keenan Allen. I combined Keenan and Woody. Nice. All right. I am probably going to give Waller the shot here. He's healthy. He's playing. He's going to be a red zone factor for them. He might see more than that. It's close between Wilson and Woody because I don't know what Wilson's role is going to be with Harrison back. So that's a little bit problematic. I might just go with the floor of Woody Marks and give Wilson a week to see what's going to happen with the 3 of them there, McBride, Harrison, and Wilson. I think that's the route I would go. Verd is next. Needs some help. 1 wide receiver and 2 flexes. Sutton, Olave, Tet, Vidal, or Keenan Allen. So you need 1 receiver and 2 flex. So you've got to sit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you need to sit 2. I'm sitting Keenan Allen. Wow, next one's really tough. So Ted has a great floor. Olave is healthy from the back, so he has a great floor. So I would actually play Olave, Tet, and Vidal. I would sit Sutton, even though I love his matchup, and I have him ranked high this week. I think he has a great opportunity, but he hasn't gotten it done in the last 4 games. So at that point, I would just say go with the other guys because they have just good options. Let me just see if I make sure I don't have a super chat here. Let me just see where James Koh's not here. I'm surprised. I expect James to be here. He isn't here. Okay. All right. See if I can text James real quick. And then we're going to go through this next question in just a second. But everybody, hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving and getting ready for these Week 13 Sunday slate. Just check James Koh. All right. Good deal. I'd love to have James here. All right. We can roll now. All right. So you need a flex between Fannin, Parkinson, Knight, Pierce, Franklin, and Booty. 1 flex, 1 tight end. Franklin's target share is kind of tough to pass up here. I'd go with Franklin in this one. And the tight end's tough because of the weather in Cleveland. But Parkinson, they may not need him a lot here against Carolina. I don't know if they need him. They should be able to run the ball. They should be able to use their receivers. I think Fannin has to get, and right, can Shedeur Sanders even complete a pass? I'm still wondering about that. I still would give Fannin the edge here, but use your gut on that one because Fannin would be my play. He might get 4 catches for 20 yards. That might be more than Parkinson gets. Parkinson would need a touchdown, and I don't know if they need him here. I really don't think they need him here. So that's what I'll be my take on that. All right, let's see what we got next. All right, good deal. All right, so we've got yes, sir. We have James Koh in the house. James, happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving to you, pal. Sorry I'm running a little bit late here today, man. Oh my gosh, got behind the 8 ball.
There's no problem with that. I was just worried that you were okay, and you're
No,
here. That means you
I'm
are
good.
okay, so that's a
No,
great
I'm
thing.
good. I'm good.
James, let's go through some inactives real quick just to get this set up because obviously they're all rolling in. I am answering questions, looking for anybody here. Oh, not that anybody was starting was getting all zeros, but Deami Brown is inactive. That means you got
Mm.
Jacoby Myers running there. I want to ask you this question, though. This is a big start sit question, James. Is the role of Parker Washington going to diminish now because Brenton Strange came back and they play a lot of two tight ends? That's when he's on the line in the field. They have Myers, they have Brian Thomas. What does that mean for Parker Washington?
I almost wonder if they start to do a little bit more 11 personnel right now that they've got three guys that I think that they can trust. Right, Parker Washington, I think will still maintain his slot role. I look, Jacoby can't play in the slot, but I really do think his best role is in that flanker position. And obviously, BTJ they want to have that flanker X role for him as well. So let's look for the Jacksonville Jaguars to get their three best receivers on the football field. Brenton Strange obviously is going to be relied upon as their starting tight end, but I think guys like Hunter Long will take more of a back role, and they just go with more 11 personnel.
And I will just point out on my side, their running game is so much better with Brenton Strange in there. So we'll see how that shakes out. James and I have a little differing opinions, but hopefully it would be nice for Parker Washington if he was on the field. As everybody knows, James, J.C. Horn is out for the Carolina secondary.
Yeah, that's
They're
huge.
already down Trevor Merrick. Their free safety was suspended. I'm getting questions about Colby Parkinson. Do they need him in this one?
No, I don't think so. I think Colby Parkinson. I know that he's one of the most added players off the waiver wire. I guess I just don't see it. You know, like they've got their run game that they lean on. They've got their two wide receivers. How much is left? How much meat is left on the bone here for Colby Parkinson? And again,
Yeah,
it's not like he's a needle mover. You know, it's not like
exactly.
he's Tyler Warren out here. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like he's a guy. He's a guy. So I'll go ahead and I think I'm okay.
Yeah, completely with you on that. I know he's a hot name, but yeah, maybe not so much. Speaking of Tyler Warren, he has a stomach bug of some sort. These players are superhuman. He's going to
Yeah.
be on the field. How worried are you if you're starting him in fantasy, though?
Um, I am a little bit concerned, but honestly, it's not a lower body ailment. It's not, I these guys are superhuman, as you mentioned, man. I think I run Tyler Warren out there like I would normally.
Okay, that's and then Darren Waller has been activated from IR. He was out for 4 weeks with a pectoral injury, back immediately. He was doing really well when he was on the field. He's really their second receiver. I know Achan kind of is, but in terms of receivers, he's really their second receiver. What are your thoughts against the Saints for Darren Waller?
I like him. You know, again, he should. He wasn't on my sleeper list this week because I just wasn't sure if he was going to play. But if he's out there, man, like again, I'm in a deeper setup. I'm okay playing him. You know, and again, if you're playing DFS, for example, Darren Waller, I think will be pretty inexpensive. So I think he'll be all right. I know they try to stick Greg Dulcich in that role, but it really wasn't working out. And for whatever reason, Miami. Man, they just love to draw up plays for their tight end. Whether we're going back to John O. Smith last year and
Oh
now Darren
man,
Waller this year, I think they will have plays designed for Darren Waller. And as we know, Tua really hesitates to go deep downfield. I think Darren Waller will get activated.
hey, I hope John U. Smith is happy that he got his move to Pittsburgh. He gets his 7 catches all season because he would have gotten 90 in minutes. So maybe he got a little
Right.
more money. Maybe I don't know how that worked out, but I'm telling you what, for his career, dumb move, John U. Smith. One more. We know that Marvin Harrison's back. We know Michael Wilson was insane. Harrison had 22 targets in the last 2 games he played. Michael Wilson kind of picked that up a little bit. What's going on with those two? Because a lot of people are asking questions. Start sit with both Harrison and Michael Wilson. And of course, Trey McBride is still going to see plenty of work.
Right. Um, I th- I think that Michael Wilson will continue to have a relatively hot start. Now, obviously, some of the target share is going to be split up there. I don't think Trey McBride's work really falls off at all. I
Right.
mean, if I've noticed anything about watching this Cardinals offense, it's just that Brissett loves to throw to McBride. Now that being said, I do think that Marvin Harrison will be worked back in. Mike, I am worried about Michael Wilson's overall volume, but it will be a rocky ride. But I'm still kind of sort of riding with Michael Wilson. I think, honestly, I think Greg Dortch basically sees nothing in
Yes,
this
correct,
matchup, right? Like,
correct.
and they go to the two wideouts that are playing out wide, and Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison. Can I just say this though, Jim? If the coaching staff doesn't let Marvin Harrison move around the formation, I think it's just like criminal negligence. Michael
Right?
Wilson's proved that he can play outside X. Let him
Hmm.
play there. Let Marvin
Yep.
Harrison get some of these slot reps. Let him get some of these flanker reps where he's off the line, not having to beat press coverage. Man, like, I don't know. It's again, I better see him moving around the formation quite a bit.
I agree. Look, the first week Wilson played, and I knew he'd play in the perimeter because Harrison is out. I go, he's a perfect stylistic fit for Jacoby Brissett.
Mm-hmm.
That too was gonna be a marriage made in heaven, and it was. All right, we got 2 super chats. I'll get those. We'll get one more question, and I'll get out of your way. We have Silent Flow wants to start to Bucky Irving, Kenneth Walker, Cortland Sutton, or Troy Franklin, the 2 Denver guys in there.
Um, well, I'm a little worried about Franklin because of the emergence of the rookie in Pat Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. It's a great matchup for Pat Bryant, too, by the way. I think I like Bucky. I kind of sort of want to get him going in there. I'll take away Sutton as well. So I think I'm just left with Bucky and Walker.
Yeah, and Walker has a good matchup. So there's that. And one more
He
super
does.
chat for right now here. Mace one looks like half point PPR, 2 receivers, Justin Jefferson, Wandale Robinson, who's been cleared from his ankle injury, as we knew, is one of those maintenance things, and Darnell Mooney. I think I know which one you're eliminating here.
Look, I'm playing Justin Jefferson. And to be honest with you, look, Wandale has been awesome with Jameis Winston, and he has played really well with Jackson Dart too. Oh man, to be honest with you, Jim, I am a little torn. I don't know. What's your thought here on Wandale?
I'm sitting
and
Mooney because Tampa's going to blitz, and Kirk Cousins, he's not going to complete that 50-yard pass to him this week. That's not happening.
Right.
And so that's why he's out.
Yeah, I think I go. Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, trusting Kirk Cousins. Like I said, that long play was great. But
Yeah.
man, if I'm going to go back to think that's going to happen again, yeah,
Right.
maybe not so much. All right, I think this is where we go. 10:21. Yeah, I think we're right off here. And then hopefully I didn't miss somebody here. All right, but good morning. You need a flex, tight end, Fannin, Parkinson, Knight, Pierce, Franklin, Booty, half PPR.
For me, okay. So you need one and one. Okay,
One
so
and one.
at tight end, I'm going Fannin. I trust Fannin here. And then for the flex, I think let me go with Alec Pierce. I think he's giving me good upside. I'm really torn between Pierce and Booty, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I think your first call of Pierce is good because Booty, like I said, left guard Will Campbell's out, and those downfield passes, there may not be as many of them.
Great call.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you one more, James, and I'm bouncing. You got this is from the 10:23 time. This is Hayden, Bucky, or Neal, and then after that, Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold.
I'm gonna trust Bucky more. Look, Neal's fine, but I mean, really, it's he's a third string guy. The offense isn't that good. He'll be okay, but I think I trust Bucky more. And then for the quarterback position, I love Sam Darnold, to be honest with you. Minnesota gives up a ton of plays over the top, right? Like they're one of the most forgiving plays in terms of, or forgiving defenses in terms of big plays, 20 air yards or more downfield. And Sam Darnold is quite literally the most productive player, 20 yards or more downfield. He leads the league in terms of passing yards on plays of 20 yards or more downfield, and he's tied for second most in terms of touchdowns deep downfield as well. So those two things I think kind of go together for me. So I like Sam Darnold a lot this week.
James Koh, happy Thanksgiving. So great to see you. I know you'll rock the rest. You'll have the 10:23 question. Then you got a super chat, but you got this. Have a great day. Everybody out there, good luck in week 13.
All right, man. Let's get it going. Jim is the best as always, man. Let's try to get through as many of these questions as possible. I got about 40 minutes here left. I think I did see a super chat question though. Let's see. We got one from Jim Cooperman for next week. For next week, Jim. Okay, Darnold versus Atlanta, Goff versus Dallas. Okay, I think you're making a pickup off the waiver wire, maybe. All right. For me, it's got to be Goff. Dallas's defense is much better than it was, but I still think they've got a lot of issues in their secondary. But honestly, to be honest with you, actually, Where are we? You know what? I just realized that Amon-Ra probably is not going to be playing next week. So you know what? No, 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 no. Let's go back to Darnold here. No Amon-Ra for Jared Goff. That makes me a little bit worried. And their offensive line right now is a little banged up too. So go ahead and give me Darnold. Atlanta's pass defense, especially against wide receivers, has been a little bit suspect, and obviously that's where Sam Darnold likes to work here. So yeah, go ahead and give me Darnold here. Goff versus Dallas is really, really interesting, obviously, but with no Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm a little bit worried, to be honest with you. All right. I'm not 100% sure where we are in terms of the chat questions here. I think I saw this one, though. Devin Neal or DK Metcalf, full PPR. Look, DK Metcalf has been whatever. You know what I mean? Like, what has he done in fantasy? You know what I mean? Like, if he's not catching he's like a glorified tight end. If he doesn't catch a touchdown, his production has not been good. Devin Neal, meanwhile, is, as I mentioned, third string running back on an offense that's not great. That being said, the matchup's okay. And he is one of my sleepers that I've got listed down this week. Here, I'll pull up some stats here on Devin Neal. Sure, why not? All right, Devin Neal taking on Miami. Miami has allowed the fourth most rush yards per game, and they also give up a ridiculous 90% completion rate to running backs. That's the worst in the NFL. I do think that he catches 2 to 3 passes this week, so we have a decent floor with Devin Neal. And now these are 2 guys that you're hoping can break into the end zone. Who's got a better chance? To me, might be Devin Neal. I don't know. This one's a really tough one. I actually am leaning Devin Neal on this one, y'all. So go ahead and give me Devin Neal. Good luck to you, James. Gut checker, Emeka Ibuka with a hurt quarterback, or Michael Wilson with MHJ back, full PPR. I am going to go, golly. Teddy Bridgewater really, I mean, I know Baker's going to go, and he's all banged up, so that does make me pause with concern here. By the way, part of this equation, too, is that Chris Godwin is back, right? And he is soaking in some of those targets as well. This one's a tough one. When it's tough, I go to the over-unders. All right, let's see. What does Vegas say? All right, so we're looking at Tampa Bay. They're taking on Arizona in the same game here, 44.5. So I really can't even I can't even really lean on this one. You know what? Let me go with Emeka Ibuka. I'll go with Emeka Ibuka here. Michael Wilson, I think, is fine, and he's good. This one's got my brain all twisted up. You know what? No. We're going with Michael Wilson. I know MHJ is back. How healthy is he coming off that appendicitis? Is he running at full strength? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe he is. But I think we definitely have found something here with Michael Wilson and Jacoby Brissett. They've built up a good amount of chemistry. I don't think that just goes away suddenly, right? And again, considering that Chris Godwin is back here for Tampa Bay and playing, I got to say, man, I think there's some competition for targets there as well. James, again, here, Bucky or BTJ, half PPR. For me, I think I'm going Bucky here. You got a hurt quarterback, as we mentioned here. Maybe they lean on the run game just a little bit more. Jacoby or Jackson Dart? Oh, Jacoby Brissett. Easily for me. Look, Jackson Dart is really interesting because he's been like a vibes guy. But can I just say this about Jackson Dart? He just doesn't throw a lot. You know what I mean? So I am a little bit worried about the passing yardage there. Della Jeezy, you need to start 3. Emeka Ibuka, Ginty, Rico, Neal, Debo, Mooney. Okay, if we're starting 3, we're starting Ginty for sure. I want to start Rico, squeaky wheel. Complaining about his touches. I bet you they load him up this week. And then I think I'm going Neal. Let's go with the 3 running backs, Ginty, Rico, and Neal. Good floor, decent upside there with these guys. Debo does have my interest as well. Mooney is Yeah. Let me go Ginty, Rico, and Neal right there. Delajeezy. And then let's see where we're at. Okay. Oh my gosh, I just lost myself here. I just lost myself. Where are we at? I don't even know. Okay, Jim Cooperman. I think we got these. Devin Neal or Rico, half PPR. I'm going Rico. Kamani Vidal or Judkins in PPR. I am going to go. I'm going Vidal. Right? Omarion Hampton's not playing today, so I like Vidal, especially against the Raiders. Love him there. And then finally, we're looking at Emeka Ibuka or Michael Wilson. And we just went with Wilson. All right, great. All right, let's go. Slick Kelsey, Slick something. Slick Nice? Slick Nice. Okay. Full PPR. Tyler Warren. Brenton Strange. Darren Waller. You could take Darren Waller out of that equation, too. Give me Tyler Warren. Best player. I like Brenton Strange a lot, too. BTJ's back. He's going to see some targets. I like Tyler Warren. Let's go with the best player. Jay Taylor's playoff schedule has been going crazy. This is from Pedro Resto. Thoughts on Bajan, who I just traded for. Taylor, Travion Henderson for the rest of the playoff schedule. Bro, that's way too far in advance. I'm sorry, Pedro. Way too far in advance. That requires a lot of thought. I just don't have the time for it. Chelsea, Tyrone Tracy or Vidal? Give me Vidal. Dude, guys, Vidal's one of my favorite players this week. It's the last week he's got going here before Omarion Hampton comes back. But Las Vegas, they're in the wilderness right now. I do think that I know the offensive line is all banged up, but to be honest with you, I think they lean on the run game because they just can't get their franchise quarterback killed like he's getting killed right now. They have to run it. Have to. I just, like I said, I think Vidal gets really activated this week. Stephen Grease or Grice? Stephen Grice. Okay. Pick one. Wide receiver, 2 flex. Well, we're playing McConkey. We're playing Waddle. Okay, so that's 2. And then give me, oh man, I want to say Ken Walker. I want to say Ken Walker, but I've got the worst feeling in the world that Ken Walker's not going to do jack. Like, he ain't going to do nothing today, man. I'm so worried about Ken Walker, y'all. I don't know what it is. Like I said, I'm a little bit worried. Carolina does have the Rams, which is a really tough matchup here. Oh my God. Okay, fine. Give me Kenneth Walker. Best player of this group. Best offense of that group as well. Best player, best offense. Give it to me. Jalen Waddle, McConkey, and Kenneth Walker, I think, are your 3 guys right there. AJ the Great. Full PPR. Rondé Gadsden or Jawan Johnson. Give me Rondé Gadsden. I will go better player, better offense. 850 Fantasy Meatball. What's up, brother? Hope you and the family are having a great holiday weekend. We are. I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry I got in late, guys. Need one defense, New Orleans versus Miami or New England. I love the setup of your question, Fantasy Meatball. Thank you, my guy. I love this. New Orleans versus Miami. He's got the name and the matchup. This is awesome, bro. New Orleans versus Miami. New England versus the Giants Monday night. Give me New England against the Giants. Yeah. New Orleans is interesting because, Tua can give up a pick 6 every now and again. But you know what, man? Jackson Dart, rookie quarterback. New England's playing really, really well. And, yeah, Giants are just, they're in the wilderness as well. So, no, go ahead and give me New England right there. You could sit the D if you've already won your. I wouldn't sit the D. What's the likelihood you're getting a negative? Not good. I mean, you'll get at least 2, most likely. Anyways, okay. Yeah, next week. Can't think about next week. All right, here we go. Although I think I already did, though. NDR. Who to start between Judkins, Vidal? I love Vidal. Michael Wilson, you need to. Okay, so if I'm picking 2, give me Vidal. I'm a little bit worried about Judkins' health, to be honest with you. He's a little banged up in that last game. There's supposed to be weather involved here, I believe, when we're talking about Cleveland as well. Um, so I don't know. Again, this game has a crazy low floor. 36.5 is the over under on the San Francisco Cleveland game, with Cleveland anticipated to score just 16 points, the lowest of the week. So, yeah, I'm a little bit worried about Judkins, to be 100% honest with you. So, I will take Vidal and Michael Wilson right there. Give it to me. And that pains me because I like Judkins. I have Judkins. I hope I'm wrong because I've got Judkins. Flex, non-PPR, Chris Olave and his bulky back, or Kenneth Walker, right? Like, the back injury does concern me quite a bit. I mean, what are they even playing for? You know? I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about it. New Orleans taking on Miami. Seattle is taking on Minnesota. It's also non-PPR. Okay, Kenneth Walker. Non-PPR, give me Kenneth Walker. I think that one was relatively easy. Ray Jonaris. I don't know. Sorry on replay crew. Covered Pollard and or Tootin yet. Okay. Okay, so you want Pollard or Tootin? I mean, we're in the dregs here. If you're asking me who has the better touchdown upside, I do think that it's Bashal Tootin. I do. I'll take Tootin very tentatively. These guys are, again, I mean, come on. This is the kind of question you throw your hands up, you know? Look, Pollard's going to get more touches. Tootin's in a better offense. That's the way you could break it down. That's it. But I mean, both these guys are not very good. Honestly, if you want floor, Pollard's a better call. If you want a little bit of upside, I think Tootin's a better call there. But again, neither one of these guys really has a lot of upside for me. So if you want floor, go ahead and give me Pollard. Dude Love. First of all, what a callback. I'm assuming you're an old school WWF fan. I'm saying WWF because I think Dude Love was in the WWF era. Any concerns over Olave? Yes, a lot of concern. Back injury. The team's not playing for nothing, man. Like, yeah, there's a lot of concern for sure. Half PPR, you could pivot to DK. No. Mechie. No. Chris Rodriguez or Tootin? No. Stay with Olave. I don't like DK, Mechie. No, I don't like any of those guys over Olave, Dude Love. Better player. I know the back injury is very concerning. Maybe Mechie, maybe, but no. I'll stay with Olave there. Is he answering any questions here? Yes. Smitty, we are. We're trying to get through as many as possible. Manny T, flex Aaron Jones or Waller. Actually, I think I'm making decent time, if I'm not mistaken. Aaron Jones or Waller. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I missed a bunch of questions, and if I did, I apologize. Just throw them back into the chat, man. I'll try to get to them, you know. Aaron Jones or Waller. Give me Aaron Jones. Come on. Easy one for me. Look, Waller's great. I won't even say great. He's okay, but I'm not taking a tight end in a mid offense coming off of an injury for the first time in 4 weeks over a starting running back who's been getting a lot of work. I'll take Aaron Jones every time. Sheen? I don't know. Ricky Pearsall, Terry McLaurin. Rest of season question? I love it. Rest of season, I will take Ricky Pearsall, even though I know he's done nothing. His time is coming, y'all. Ricky Pearsall's time is coming. The usage is there. The separation is there. The route running is there. The number of routes are there. His time, I think, is coming. Matchups haven't been quite there last couple of weeks, and obviously he was coming back from a major injury as well. So I'll say Ricky Pearsall. Terry McLaurin is interesting. Look, we just got that report that Jaden Daniels is I don't know. Why are you practicing? Washington, what are you guys doing, dude? Don't do this again. Washington, don't do this again. Not with a young quarterback. Don't do it. Y'all did it with RG3. You ruined his career. Don't do it with Jaden. Come on, guys. Keep him out the rest of the year. You guys are fighting for nothing. What are we doing out here? Doesn't make any sense. Papa Greco! What's up, man? Good to see you, buddy. BTJ, longtime listener, is Michael Parley Greco. Okay, BTJ against Tennessee. John Mechie against Atlanta. I am going to go with. I'm going with Brian Thomas Jr. That's how far BTJ has fallen. That he has fallen to the ranks of John Mechie. John Mechie playing with Tyrod Taylor. Oh my goodness gracious. No, give me BTJ, I guess. He's still the better player, better offense. Let's go. Steven Grease. Pick one wide receiver, two flex. Waddle, McConkey, Dowdle, Kenneth Walker, Devin Neal. I think I did this one. I did. Okay. The IV Ironster. Did I get that right? I don't know, dude. PPR comeback game for Scary Terry or ride Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman. Terry has done nothing this year. He's working with Marcus Mariota. I'm not that confident that he's doing anything. Michael Pittman, meanwhile, it's funny. Every single week, every single year, people try to write off Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman is the number one in this offense. You know, whether he puts up, I'm not saying he puts up wide receiver one numbers every week, but he is the go-to receiver in this offense, in my opinion. I know Alec Pierce has had his moments for sure. And I like Alec Pierce. If y'all go back to my content going back years, it's like, guys, I've been talking about Alec Pierce. I like Alec Pierce. It's just when we're talking about who is your bread and butter guy, it's Michael Pittman. The quarterback play has me a little bit concerned. Daniel Jones dealing with a major injury. Again, here's another player. Like, why are we getting him out there? That's surprising to me. I mean, the backup is that bad? Backup's that bad? I don't know. They've got a very important game against Houston, and Houston has one of the best defenses in the NFL. So that one does give me some pause for concern. But again, it's not as if Washington's got a great matchup. They're taking on Denver. You know what I mean? I'll take Michael Pittman here. I don't like either one of these guys very much this week, but I do. I'll take Michael Pittman. Sure. Why not? Okay, where are we at? Juan, Pulido, full PPR. Gadsden, Otten, Parkinson, or Pitts. We're going Pitts. Pitts is seeing too much volume. I can't get away from that. And I know Kirk Cousins is not great. But I think Pitts is seeing too much work. We can't sit down Pitts, man. So let me go Kyle Pitts right there. Sarwar Abdulatif. I think I got that. Sarwar Abdulatif. I probably didn't get it. I butchered your name. I apologize, bro. Start 2 half PPR. Vidal, Neal, Michael Wilson. I'm starting 2. I'm starting Vidal for sure. And give me Michael Wilson. I've seen a lot of these Michael Wilson or Neal questions. I like Neal. He's in a sleeper spot for me, but I like Michael Wilson too, man. Higher scoring game, I think. So give me Vidal, Michael Wilson. I feel pretty good about that one, to be honest with you. Papa Greco's back. Devin Neal versus Miami. See, this guy's formatting, question formatting, man. Bro, ideal. Devin Neal versus Miami. Chris Rodriguez versus Denver. Devin Neal versus Miami. Better matchup. Miami has been giving up production on the ground, and they especially give it up in PPR formats out of the backfield. As I mentioned, Denver giving up a 90% completion rate to opposing running backs, worse than the NFL. That's crazy. I do think that a young running back can look on Devin Neal as a couple checkdowns there. And lean on him. Chris Rodriguez is in a 3-man backfield, which you hate to see, and he never gets any passing work. So give me Devin Neal. And Denver, and like I said, Denver's defense is still pretty good. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. Rob Hensley, PPR. McLaurin, Pierce, Mechie. I am going to go. This one's a good question. This one's tough, Rob. McLaurin, Pierce, or Mechie? Am I crazy for thinking Mechie? Am I crazy? I don't like McLaurin this week, y'all. Maybe I'm wrong on this one. Let's see. Washington is anticipated to score 18.75. So not very good. Anything below 20 is not good. What is Pierce at? And then meanwhile, Indianapolis is anticipated to score 24. Pretty good. Better touchdown upside. And then John Mechie and the Jets. Where are we at with John Mechie and the Jets? They're anticipated to score, 18.5. So Mechie's the worst of the three. My leanings here might be McLaurin. So my leaning here is probably McLaurin. He's the number one. Over Pierce, over Mechie. Mechie's kind of like a 1A, 1B with Adonai. Rob, you know what? I'm going to go with my gut, man. My gut says Mechie. Over Pierce, over McLaurin. Give me Mechie. I know that's a weird one. Normally I don't do that, but I don't know. I feel like Mechie is the better option there. I'm going with my gut. If you let me, Rob, let me look up one little thing here because I do have this information available to me. Okay, the Jets are taking on Atlanta, and Atlanta. Let me look this up against slot receivers. Man, the matchup data doesn't look that good either. Okay, the matchup data is not looking good. And by the way, this is a reason why I highlighted Adonai, because Atlanta's tougher against the slot than they are out wide. So I think Adonai gets a little bit more work here. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to go to McLaurin. Man, this one's a tough one for me, Rob. I'm going to flip it. Let's go McLaurin here. Let's go McLaurin. Okay, Domade Providence. Who would y'all start? Full PPR. K9 or Dowdle? I'm going to go K9 here. Better player, better offense. You really need the win? Oh, man, I know, man. We're getting down to it, man. We got to make these playoffs, right? Give me K9, even though I know Rico Dowdle got the squeaky. He's probably going to get the squeaky wheel treatment. I just don't love the matchup. And, yeah. Let's see here. Carolina against the Rams. What have the Rams done against running backs here? They've been pretty good. They have allowed the third fewest fantasy points per game to the running back position. Meanwhile, Minnesota against Seattle. Minnesota has allowed about league average. 12th best. So, right in the middle right there. And we just saw Emmanuel Wilson go off for 26.5. Monangai went for 10.7, so gave you double digits. Derrick Henry gave you double digits. Jahmyr Gibbs, they actually limited to just 5.8. Although David Montgomery went for 11. Vidal went for nearly 20. So it's been a mixed bag, to be honest with you. But you know what? I will go with Kenneth Walker. I'll go with Kenneth Walker right there. I don't love it. I don't love it, but I will go with it. MTB Zeus. Brissett or Dart? Give me Brissett. Too hot right now. And again, Dart has been interesting, but Dart for me, again, I would just be surprised if he keeps that train rolling. We got a couple super chat questions. Let me get to those real quick. Okay, what do we got? Oh, we got two of them. My bad, y'all. Okay, actually, they just came in the last couple minutes. I'm good. OG Bobby, what's up? What a name! What a screen name. OG Bobby. I need two wide receivers in the PPR. Myers, McLaurin, Pierce, Wilson, and Pearsall. You need two wide receivers. Okay, so So for me, I definitely want to play Myers. I like his role in this offense. And then if I'm going with a second one, oh my gosh. Well, we just talked about McLaurin or Pierce, and I picked McLaurin. So I'm leaning McLaurin over Pierce. I think we can take Pierce out. Do we like Michael Wilson or do we like Ricky Pearsall? Man, I think I'm gonna ride the hot hand here. Can we ride the hot hand with Michael Wilson? I mean, there's been no one better in the game of football than Michael Wilson. Do they really just go away from that? Do they? Give me Jacoby here and Michael Wilson. Again, I don't feel wonderful about this. I will look up one stat here in regards to Tampa Bay. Okay, Tampa Bay. Here we go. Let's go to Tampa Bay. Outside wide receivers. What have they done? Oh, fifth most fantasy points per game to outside wide receivers. Let's go, Michael Wilson. Shoot. Let's go. Let's ride that hot hand. Let's go, Jacoby Myers. Let's go, Michael Wilson, and let's wish for good luck here. Thomas Colucci. What's up, brother? PPR Neal versus Miami. Woods versus Indianapolis. Woods. Am I tripping? Woods. What? Well, I'm tripping. Who am I? Who are we thinking of here? Woods? Oh, you're talking about Woody Marks. Okay, got it. Woody Marks. I'm like, Woods? Jelani Woods? Robert Woods? Who are we talking? Okay, no, you got to be talking about Woody Marks. Okay, I got you now. And then Kenneth Gainwell versus Buffalo. Okay, Neal, Woody, or Gainwell. Believe it or not, I actually am going to say Gainwell. I will say this, though. Woody, to me, gives you the best floor. Gainwell gives you the best ceiling. And my God, Buffalo cannot stop the run. So that's kind of where my mind is at in regards to the Gainwell pick. Let me give you a couple stats here on Indianapolis. They are middle of the pack, 13th fewest fantasy points per game, but that's league average. It's basically league average. And some other running backs. Let's see. Kareem Hunt went for 20, which is really good. They limited Bijan to 11, which is actually really good. Although Tyler Algier got him for 17.7 because he scored 2 touchdowns. Jaylen Warren got him for 17. And Tony Pollard, 6.3. Spears got him for 17. So it's interesting. Even though they're league average, they have given up a lot of production, actually, mostly to randomly backups. That is random. But okay. But yeah, so I think that Woody's actually in a decent spot. Indianapolis has allowed 3.95 yards per carry. That's, again, a little bit better than average. But, it's within striking distance. Again, let me just put it to you that way. I think Woody Marks for safety, right? Like, I don't know what the rest of your construction looks like. But, man, if I'm chasing upside, go ahead and give me Gainwell. I think Gainwell showed me enough, and Buffalo's run defense is arguably the worst in the NFL. So that is, I'm kind of leaning Gainwell right there. Okay. I don't know where the hell I am at in these questions, brother. I got no clue. Did I get to this one? Andrea McNamara? I don't think I did. All right, cool. Here we are. PPR Sutton, Marvin Harrison, or Parker Washington. You need two. If you need two, I'm taking Sutton out of this equation, to be honest with you. I think he has fallen by the wayside. Troy Franklin is arguably the number one. And again, I do think that the rookie there in Pat Bryant's going to see a lot of work here as well because the matchup dictates that. So give me Marvin Harrison, Parker Washington. Sutton obviously has got really good touchdown upside, but I'll still take Marvin Harrison and Parker Washington. Although, let me think about this Marvin Harrison bit for a second. I'm just assuming Marvin Harrison is like fully healthy, but he's coming off of an appendicitis injury. And that's nothing to mess around with, man. Like, that doesn't feel good. Does he play a full complement of snaps? I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. Maybe we go Sutton and Parker Washington here. No. Yeah, give me Marvin Harrison, Parker Washington. I can't look. I can't fade Jacoby Brissett. Brissett has just been playing out of this world. How do we fade his play? Can't do it. Give me Marvin Harrison. Give me Marvin Harrison and Parker Washington, man. There is a name in here that I'm sure is really cool. Young Spendit. Wow, sounds pretty cool. Pick 2, Justin Jefferson. Yeah, we're playing him. I don't care. I don't care about the quarterback. Look, Max Brosman can't be worse than J.J. McCarthy. He literally can't be worse. J.J. McCarthy is arguably the worst quarterback we have seen statistically since Zach Wilson. I've got Zach Wilson numbers pulled up, y'all. Zach Wilson is better than J.J. McCarthy in a couple of aspects. It's a little crazy. EPA per dropback, Zach Wilson's better. That's scary. Justin Jefferson, I'm playing him. DK, Debo, Parker Washington, John Mechie. Okay, if I'm picking two, I'm going Justin Jefferson for sure, for one. And then I think I'm going Parker Washington right there. DK has done, guys, I don't know. DK is the best player of that group, but he really just has not done that much in fantasy. So give me Justin Jefferson, give me Parker Washington. 865 Will Vidal, easily for me, over Neil, easily. Andrea McNamara, can we trust Bucky this week? I think we can, yeah. Or roll, ROLL, with Devin Neal, worried about workload. Worried about workload with who? Bucky? Here's the thing with Devin Neal, guys. He's going to be in a split as well. There's just no question. Like, Audric Estime was a healthy scratch last week for New Orleans, and that's why when Alvin Kamara went down, they didn't play him. But he's going to be active this week. It's going to be a split. I know you're thinking, well, he didn't play last week. He was a healthy scratch, right? And that's why Devin Neal got 75% of the running, or 75% of the snaps played. It's not going to be like that. It'll be, in my opinion, I think it'll be 60-40. I like Devin Neal. I think he's fine. But Audric Estime is fine too. So, yeah. Here's the thing with Devin Neal, guys. Like, I like the matchup. It's good. He's on my sleeper list. But I am not rolling in to that game thinking that Devin Neal's going to play 70% of the snaps. I doubt very seriously that'll happen. I think at best he plays 60% of the snaps, if not 50-50. So if you're worried about workload for Bucky, I would say don't be, because, again, he's going to see at least 50% of the workload. Devin Neal will see at least 50% of the workload. To me, I feel like, they'll lean on Bucky. I think Bucky will have more possessions, if that makes sense. Chase a Bag. Great screen name, by the way. Bucky or Judkins? Full PPR. Okay. I'm going to, 51% confidence, say Bucky. The Cleveland situation there has me a little bit worried. Low. Vegas has them as the lowest scoring offense in football this week. There's a little bit of a weather concern too. Judkins got banged up just a little bit last week. So I am worried about that just a little. So I will still say Bucky here. And I think Judkins is a really, really good player, but I'm just kind of sort of working with, a little bit of an injury concern, a tiny bit. A tiny bit. He got a little banged up last week. That's all. Got a little nicked up. Bad weather. Vegas has them not scoring very many points. I'll go with Bucky. Maybe he runs into. I think he's got better touchdown upside than Quinshon Judkins, in my opinion. Okay, so did I miss a super chat? No, I didn't. Okay. Here we are. Hold on. Where are we at? Okay, here we go. Brady Harrell. Start 3. Okay, we got 5 minutes here. Okay, start 3. MHJ, Mechie, Pierce, Addison. I want to play Addison. PJ Washington? Do you mean Parker Washington? Do you mean PJ Washington? I think it's a different sport. Okay, so I'm gonna go if I'm picking 3. Give me Addison, Parker Washington, and then I'll go MHJ for my 3. Okay, let's go. Sit 1, replay of shame. Another great screen name. Metcalf, Diggs, Pearsall. If I'm sitting 1, believe it or not, I'm going to sit Metcalf here. Believe it or not. Yeah. Sit 2, start 2. Huh? What? Okay, I'm going to sit 2? No, I'm going to start 2. I don't know what we're talking about here, dude. Pearsall. Okay, so I just said sit DK. And and I'm going to sit down uh, Pearsall of this group. I don't understand your question, dog. Gregorio, Brian Thomas Jr. or Kenneth Gainwell? Give me Kenneth Gainwell. Beautiful matchup against Buffalo this week. Big Ham, full PPR, Rico BTJ. I'm going to go Rico here. Squeaky Wheel, I think, gets a little bit more action. I don't love the matchup, but BTJ coming off this injury, how quickly do they get him acclimated? I don't know. I'll go Rico right there. Silent Flow, flex Bowers or Harvey or Rico. I love RJ Harvey this week. Give me RJ Harvey. I think he's got a beautiful matchup against Washington. Washington gives up a ton of production. 2 running backs running to the outside. RJ Harvey is a home run hitter when it gets to the outside. Give me RJ Harvey right here. Chelsea. Full point PPR. Wandale. I'm picking one. If I'm picking one, I'm going to pick Ladd. If I'm picking one, give me Ladd. James, look, in regards to this question, I just can't get away from talent. Maybe that leads me astray sometimes, but that's my process. Ladd's the most talented of this group. He's in a good offense. Wandale is really interesting, obviously, because, Jackson Dart has leaned on him quite a bit. I will say if you want better floor, Wandale, but I'm not getting away from Ladd, guys. Okay, this is Neal or Quentin Johnston. Neal. Not trusting Johnston at all. Lucid Nick. Full PPR. Do I start Brissett or Dart? Give me Brissett. Brissett's too hot. We can't sit him down, dude. Pedro Resto. I play in a keeper league. I traded Bucky for Bajan. Really? Okay. With Bucky's favorable schedule, did I make a mistake? No, you didn't. Bajan's too good. You're good. Yeah, Gregorio's Brissett for sure. Yeah, I'm going Brissett till I die. Let's go. Aiden Gallegos. Konos. What's up, Aiden? Pick 2. Full PPR, Devin Neal at Miami, Bucky Irving at Arizona, Jalen Warren at Buffalo. If I'm picking 2 in full point PPR, give me Bucky for sure, and then I'm gonna go Devin Neal. I hate that, but give me Devin Neal against Miami. I just said pick the better player, but this is 2 different spots, right? Like tight end versus running back. Oh man, that one's got my brain in a pickle, bro. Give me Bucky Irving though for sure. Aiden Gallegos, and then give me I'll go Devin Neal right there over Jalen Warren. He didn't practice all week or whatever. He's sick, I guess. We'll go. Gregorio, his numbers last 2 weeks. Okay, Michael Regine, Rico or Dowdle. Rico or Dowdle full PPR. Huh? Rico or Dowdle? Bruh. I don't know what the hell we talking about. Jim Coop, James. It's the same guy. What you mean, bro? I don't get it. In a PPR. Io Manor back from the hammy. Pierce or Mechie reigning in New Jersey. Cooperman. I'm going not Io Manor. Oh my God, no. I'll take Pierce. At least let me chase that upside. It's a bad matchup, but you know what? Let me chase that upside for Pierce. Okay, OG Bobby. I need 2 in a PPR. Myers, McLaurin, Pierce, Wilson. Oh my gosh. Okay. Guys, in the future, we got to narrow these questions down, man. Like, you can't be throwing 17 guys at me and saying pick 7. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Help everyone else out. We can get through these questions a lot faster, guys. Come on, help me out. Help me help y'all. I know you're not thinking about this. Come on, man. Okay, PPR, I'm picking 2. I'm going Myers, and I am going to go I already got this one, too. Wait, OG. Okay. G-Man rules. You've got oh, man, Amon-Ra 0. That sucks. You're the underdog. How confident? I'm very confident in Bucky Irving. Let's play him. Yep, play Bucky. Ladd or Emeka? Ladd. Dart or Knicks? Ooh, I am gonna say, I'm gonna say Knicks. Give me Knicks over Dart. Michael Regine, Rico or Woody, full PPR. I will go Woody. Give me Woody Marks right there. Rico, and it's not even close. That's so funny because I just said Woody. It's not even close. How is it not close? That's so interesting to me. Interesting. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe Lucid is correct and I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know how it's Rico and it's not close though. Emeka Ibuka or Michael Wilson. I'm going Michael Wilson there, Jim Cooperman. And we're already at the 10 o'clock hour. That's God, I feel bad, man. I say this every week, but I did get through a number of questions here today, though. Pick 2 PPR: Jalen Warren, Rico, Tet, Ginty. I'm playing Ginty for sure, and I am gonna go Tet. Give me Tet McMillan. I feel like BTH going off today. Great matchup. I agree with you. Great matchup. Competition for targets coming back from injury. I'm not as confident. Vidal or Harvey? Ooh, this one's got my brain in a pickle, bruh. I am going to say Vidal for floor, but I do like Harvey's upside. But I think if I'm leaning anywhere, I might lean on Vidal. Brady Harrell, I feel like I answered this question. Pretty sure I did. Brandon Hatto, Bucky or Gainwell? I'm going to say Bucky. Man. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning, brother. I got to the super chats. No? OG? I did. Yeah, I did, bro. I did. Silent flow, speed up, my guy. Brother, I'm going as fast as I can. I apologize. It's the best I can do, Silent flow. My bad. It's the best I can do, though. Esper Amount, Waller or Johnson at tight end? I think we're already done, though. Sorry, y'all. I wish I got some more. I do. I say that every week. I wish I got some more, but man, I don't know. I do my best, y'all. Hey, listen, I appreciate everyone jumping into the chat. You guys are the best. Even the negative comments. Appreciate you guys blowing up the chat. It's all good. Hey, listen, we'll be back here next week. And again, I try to rip through as many of these questions as possible. But if you do want to find me online at James D. Koh, whether we're talking about X, whether we're talking about Instagram, Threads, YouTube, at James D. Koh, Blue Sky, I'm on there as well. Anyways, go find me, shoot me a DM. I try to do my best answering DMs all week as well. So if you've got questions, find me on there. I've got my own YouTube channel too. If you guys want to follow me there, obviously all my YouTube content's flowing through RotoWire. But if you do ask me a question, you can at me on those videos. You can at me on those RotoWire videos, and it will pop up on my YouTube, and I'll see it. So if you want to ask me questions there, we get it going on. Anyways, hey, if I didn't get to y'all questions, man, I do apologize. Again, I try my best. Can't get to them all, man. But again, I will see you guys here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. I appreciate everyone out there. Hey, have a great Thanksgiving weekend. And again, I'll see you guys here next week, man. Peace.